Welcome to this live stream event of Panther Sports. Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, Richie Ewing, Neil Thornton. All gas, no brakes. Let's get it.
Good evening, Panther Nation, and welcome to this live stream event on Liberty Panther Sports Network. You're watching panthersports.com. Sports with a Z. I'm Joe Roberts alongside Ross Norwood, Neil Thornton, and producer Richard Ewing. Oscar Cicada, the junior producer, right next to me, and Jefe himself, Eduardo Mata, on a camera, and Tanis Grimes on another camera. We are here at Dan R. Hooks Stadium in West Orange, Texas, for this 11-4A contest between the West Orange Stark Mustangs and your Liberty Panthers. Liberty coming in off of a bye week last week and now coming in off a fair week this week. Always a difficult thing to do when you're the Liberty Panthers coming in off fair week. Right now sitting not as pretty as they would like, having dropped the last two contests and sitting at 1-2 in district play. And the West Orange Stark Mustangs taking the field. Your Panthers already on the field right now and getting really close to having captains meeting at the middle. Apologize for our late start. Had some technical difficulties getting going, but all is good in the neighborhood now. And Neil Thornton coming in off the bye week. What were some stats? Throw some stats at us from 2 weeks ago.
Well, Liberty couldn't get their offense particularly going last. We had 8 possessions in the whole game. 2 of them ended up in scores. The other 6 were there was 3 over on downs and 3 punts. So Liberty's got to get their offense untracked. We only had really one particularly good drive of the night. It was a 10-play drive aided by it would have been more than 62 yards if we hadn't had a 10-yard penalty, but we did end up scoring on that. But the offense has got to get a little bit more creative against West Orange. West Orange is always big. They're always fast, and they can cover you on the outside, always have been. Our leading rusher for last week before last now, Jolin Curtis, 20 carries for 102 yards. He'll get the ball tonight quite a few times.
All right, thank you for that, Neil. And now the athletes, the other performers for tonight, and the fans standing here getting ready for the national anthem and I presume the prayer. While we're waiting on this, oh, there it is. All right, nice rendition of the national anthem there by West Orange Stark. And now captain's getting set to go to the middle of the field, and we have the regular quartet of guys. Number 5, Austin Walker. Looks like number 33, Titus Bell. Number 9, Mason Goodo. And number 13, William Waldrop. All have been representing with the team locked in arms coming out behind them. Ross, what are we going to see tonight?
It's going to be a very physical game, and for Liberty to have success, they are going to have to dominate both lines. This West Orange Stark offense can be dynamic. You're going to see a lot of options out of the West Orange Stark offense. They'll put the ball in the air as well, but they like to run that option. And Liberty is going to have to be able to defend that. And then on the offensive line, that line's going to have a tough fight for Liberty because that defensive line of West Orange Stark is stout, they are quick, and they will get into the backfield fast.
We talked about this before we went on air, Ross. Elijah Gale's the quarterback for West Orange Stark. It seems like he's been there for a long time. Very dangerous with his feet, very dangerous with his arm. Among the many dangerous folks that West Orange Stark has, they have a number of college commits, particularly their center, who is headed to the University of Oklahoma, if I'm correct.
That is right. He will go to Oklahoma after this season. That just kind of gives you an idea of the level of competition the Panthers are going to be up against tonight. They've had a good week of practice, albeit a very strange week because they were only in school Monday and Tuesday, but they practiced Wednesday and Thursday.
I just got a text, Joe. If Elijah Gale, and he's at running back now, if Elijah Gale goes over 130 tonight, he sets an all-time career rushing record at West Orange Stark.
Well, that's a pretty good accomplishment. There have been a number of great athletes coming through here, sitting amongst all the signs that say state championship and state finalists and all the litany of awards that this particular program has won over the years. And probably going to be either Keyshawn Robinson or Terrius Foster at the quarterback spot. But Elijah Gale is such a great athlete. We've seen him many different places. And the opening kickoff is going to happen. It's going to hit and be fielded not too cleanly and almost immediately get touched out of bounds. And West Orange going to take over on their own 22-yard line, Ross.
That ball was headed towards the near sideline. It was an interesting play that the return man, Jaden Jones, tried to make a play on that ball. It was going to be out of bounds. Instead, he makes a play on it, and it comes out of his hands.
All right, shotgun backfield for the Mustangs. Twins to the short side, single receiver to the right. And a handoff immediately. Going to get found in the backfield, going to make a nice move to get out of there, and that is Elijah Gales, and we mentioned him beforehand. I'm sure we're going to call his name a number of times. Going to pick up a couple of yards on that. Going to bring up second down and about 7 or so, Ross.
They're going to move some personnel. West Orange Stark is in and out of this game after just one offensive play.
Again, same formation, same doubles to the short side of the field. Lone receiver matched up on the outside. Going to have a little end around and get popped in the backfield. That's going to be a nice defensive play. And that looks like that was number 9, Mason Goodo, on the stop for the Panthers.
Bo Fowler also part of that stop. The running back was DeCarrion Judge.
That's going to push the ball back to the West Orange Stark 20. Going to bring up third down and 12 for the Mustangs. A situation where trying to get a little cute early on, Ross.
That is something I picked up on film when they played Silsbee a few weeks ago. They had some early problems on the first probably 3 drives.
Again, the quarterback going to roll out to his right, find the runner, and going to get out of the tackle. Coverage was good initially, and just slides off. That's going to be a huge pickup for the Mustangs, and that's going to bring the ball up to their 40-yard line. First and 10, West Orange.
Can you see the number on that kid?
Elijah Gales was the receiver. The quarterback is Keyshawn Robinson. Number 17, Keyshawn Robinson. The receiver was Elijah Gales, number 4.
20-yard pickup and a first down.
All right, shotgun formation again, first and 10. Trips to the left of Robinson. And there's going to be some movement and contact, and that probably is going to go against Liberty. Not sure if it will or not. Still waiting the signal from the referee.
I expect to see a very aggressive Liberty defensive line tonight trying to break blocks and get back into that backfield. It's a speedy backfield, and it is going to go against Liberty.
It's going to bring up first and 5 for West Orange Stark from their 45-yard line. Far hash mark. And they are going to be going from east to west, as it were. And hand the ball straight up the middle, bouncing to the left, coming back into the middle, and the ball may have popped loose there.
It did. One of the Liberty pursuers was able to kind of get a hand in there, but West Orange Stark able to drop on it.
Was that Gale again? I can hardly see those numbers at all. Was that Gale?
I did not see the number.
I think it is.
If I had to guess, it was Gale.
That's going to bring up 1st and 10. West Orange now in Panther territory down to the Panther 48-yard line. And going to be a little option action. Going to hand the ball off, coming to the left, and get it pulled down. And that's Austin Walker leading the charge there. A very small pickup on that play.
Mason Goodo also in on that tackle. Ball carrier was Jamal Shaw. He is number 22.
Bring up 2nd down and 9. And we are just about 9.5 minutes into the first quarter here at Dan R. Hook Stadium. Liberty Panthers 11-4A action, trying to get off the slide. And a deep pass over the middle and just out of the hands of the receiver. He'd gotten in behind the Panther defense and just couldn't make the connection.
Gavin Becker and Mason Goodo had the coverage on that, and that ball just overthrown by the quarterback, Keyshawn Robinson.
9:18 to go here in the first quarter. Liberty and West Orange all knotted up at zeros. West Orange in the middle of their first possession. Shotgun formation, the normal formation for West Orange. Going to hand the ball back across on a little counter. And that's going to be a big pickup over the right-hand side. And that's going to be enough for the first down. Move the chains. And the Mustangs down to the Liberty 37-yard line and far hash mark.
Elijah Gales with another big run. Titus Bell coming in to finish off that tackle for the Panthers.
Again, very committed to sending multiple receivers to the left side of the field. Lone receiver to the right. Looking for that single receiver. And great connection. Spins out of the coverage. Hops over defender. And then walks into the end zone at the 8:44 mark. West Orange Stark finds the pay dirt first, and they are now leading 6-0 at the 8:44 mark.
That was a situation where speedy feet came into play as he was able to quick step some of the tackles and tiptoe the sideline.
Yeah, that was a really nice play by that receiver. The tackling wasn't as optimal as one would want.
37 yards and a touchdown on that. The young man's name is,
and
well, I don't see a number 12. Is it 12 or 13?
I believe it was maybe 13.
13 is Jaden Jones, wide receiver.
West Orange Start running a sort of a swinging gate there on the extra point and a direct snap right to the Mustang. I didn't get the number there, but he ran right in, Ross.
I believe that was Keyshawn Robinson.
Okay, the quarterback, direct snap to the quarterback. At the 8:44 mark, West Orange Stark scores, and then they take the 2-point conversion to go up 8-0, and it looked like business as usual for this powerful Mustang offense.
When they played Silsbee a couple of weeks ago, their offense had some issues the first 3 times of getting something together and putting a drive together. It looked at the start of this drive that they would have the same problem. They didn't.
Again, we apologize on the numbers. West Orange Stark has these gunship gray lettering on this very dark blue, and it's making it very hard to see.
I have binoculars, and it's even hard for me to see.
Well, back deep for the Panthers, Jolin Curtis, and is that Alex Valtierra. It's going to be deep, and it looks like it's going to touch Curtis, and it's going to go into the end zone. And he's going to have to get out of there because he touched the ball.
Did he touch it in the field of play?
He touched it in the field of play.
As it was kind of going over, he reached his hand back,
and
his hands back to try to catch the ball, and it went off the tips of his fingers.
I thought if the momentum of the ball carried it in.
No, he batted it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he when he went up, he put his hands up kind of behind him to try to make a catch, and it hit off his fingers.
On the 1 yard line.
That is definitely not where the Panthers wanted to start their first drive, but we've seen it before.
The West Orange Stark Mustangs were able to get down the field quickly, and he's lucky that he was able to get out to the 1 yard line, as he couldn't field that ball until it got right to the back of the end zone. That's a mistake that this West Orange Stark team can really make you hurt on.
All right, 1st and 10 from their own 1 yard line. Liberty going to be taking over with their first possession.
A delay of game.
Half the distance, which is 18 inches.
Well, they're going to be barely in the green here. Pistol formation. And try to hand the ball off quickly to Curtis, who cuts up the middle and bounces a little bit, trying to get some of that back.
Yeah.
Going to get up to the 10-yard line, and that's a nice bit of breathing room for the Panthers. Nice quick cuts by the senior Jolin Curtis.
Little different look there as that ball was snapped out of the shotgun, trying to give a little more room to Liberty for the handoff, and it was executed very well.
Yeah, Coach Taylor talked about wanting to implement that pistol look a little bit more to cut down on the center quarterback exchange problems that they had been having. And we got multiple guys in motion, and right now what we're seeing is we're seeing fair week, if I'm being honest.
It is a challenge for Coach Taylor and the coaching staff every year, no matter how much you prepare for it. These are kids, and you know they're distracted with the TVE.
You get out of your rhythm.
You also just watched a powerful West Orange Stark team march the ball down the field, and in a dominating drive, and so that kind of creeps into your mind as well.
All right, trying it again. 2nd down and probably 7 or so for the Panthers. This time, man in motion. Snap back to Caden Nolan, who rolls out, and that's going to be another miscue by the Panther offense. They may have them on false start. And if that is the case, that'll move them back again. And that is going to be a false start on the Panther offense, and that will split the difference going backwards. So far, Panthers on their first offensive possession have had 3 penalties.
That is right. They had a delay of game to start the drive, and then 2 consecutive false starts, and they were already backed up to their 1 yard line.
Well, they had an offsides penalty when
that is the 4th then.
That's the 4th penalty.
This is the 3rd penalty of this drive.
All right, Caden Nolan in the pistol formation with Curtis behind him. And it's going to be a powerful snap. Curtis over to the left-hand side, bounces up the middle, and going to get stopped after a bevy of runners, or a bevy of defenders hit him.
Yeah.
But that's going to be enough to pick up the 1st down. And one of the other things that we're seeing right now is we are seeing our 3rd center of the year. Big Juan Sanchez has been moved from the tackle spot and is now handling the center responsibilities.
I think maybe he's a better deep snapper maybe than Seth. I don't know.
The Jaden Jones for West Orange Stark had his hands around Jolin, but Jolin just kept the feet moving and spinning.
Another snap to Nolan. Going to hand it off to Jolin Curtis. Going to take it over the left-hand side. Going to pick up a few on that. 7:26 to go here in the first quarter. Liberty trailing 8-0. West Orange scoring on their first drive. Your Liberty Panthers in the middle of their first drive. Watching Liberty Panthers Sports Network, Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, Neil Thornton, producer Richard Ewing. And they've dropped a weight on their foot a couple of times and are trying to dig themselves out of it. So far, so good, Ross. I think the game plan was to burn up a lot of time, and they're doing that. Snap again, and handoff again to Curtis. And this time he's going to get tracked down in the backfield by number 23, for the Mustangs.
Curtis could not quite get his footing there, and his momentum started moving him forward. He got a little over his skis, and then West Orange Stark came in to make the tackle.
3rd down and 7 to go for Liberty. They're facing a Mustang defense that's chock full of just great athletes.
A very powerful defensive line for West Orange Stark.
Valtiera in motion. Nolan rolling to his right, and that's going to be a pick 6.
In and out of his hands.
Oh, well, there we go. I missed that. I thought he had it in his hands. That was almost a pick 6.
In and out of his hands, Jamal Shaw had 6 points. The problem was he didn't secure the ball before he started thinking about the 6 points he was about to score.
Well, that is better than scoring the 6 points. The punt unit for Liberty on Jaden Shemp, the senior, back to punt.
Looks like he's trying to put it down here on the side. Look at the coverage on the right-hand side here. Jaden's been doing a lot of practicing. He's kind of angled that way if you'll look. And he kicked it the other way, of course, after I said all that.
End over end, fielded, not cleanly, and that's Panther football. And just like that, the miscues taking advantage for the Liberty Panthers.
Caden Nolan jumping on that one right there with the receiver, and Jaden Shemp is pumped. That was a good. It was a very good punt for Shemp, who was deep in his own territory. And I know we've said it a million times, but I'm going to say it again. Jaden Shemp did not play football until about week 3.
At the 6:07 mark, Liberty taking advantage of a special teams miscue by West Orange Stark. And now they have the ball on their 49-yard line, far hash mark, still trailing 8-0. And it's going to be much ado about nothing if they can't get something going offensively. Coach Taylor talked about wanting to chew up clock.
When you made that punt, your hope was to get a punt like that out of Shemp. This is the best-case scenario for Liberty.
Curtis takes the ball at the middle. Going to pick up a few yards on the carry. Going to get the Panthers into Mustang territory, and they're going to have 2nd down and about a long 7 from the Mustang. Going to call that 48-yard line, middle of the hash mark.
On that play, Curtis had a very slim hole to get through, and he was able to shoot that hole and get that positive yardage.
I think they need to run that little bootleg thing they had a while ago. That's Curtis's 5th carry in a row.
And snap to
like
Nolan,
that.
Rolling out to his right. And not going to find anything, trying to tuck it, and he's going to pick up a couple on the rollout.
Yeah, tight coverage there by Jamal Shaw. Shaw's the defensive back who almost had the interception.
Was that Caden or Austin Walker? That's Caden Nolan.
Caden Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that punt did one thing for the Liberty Panthers, Ross. It injected a little bit of life into the sideline, a little listless coming into the game, and now they seem to be ready to go. Nolan again going to hand the ball off. Curtis again just working his legs and pushing and finding any little crease that he can find.
As Curtis started moving downfield, Gavin Fontenot stepped up and moved one of the linebackers out of Curtis's way, and that allowed him to get that 1st down.
1st and 10 for the Liberty Panthers on the West Orange Stark Mustang 39-yard line near hash mark. 4:26 to go here in the first quarter. Again, Liberty trailing 8-0 and putting together what started inauspiciously is now turned into something that maybe you can be proud of.
Less than optimal.
And Curtis again with the ball.
He can't turn around like that.
And they're going to give him the momentum for about 1.5 yards, maybe 2.
Jaden Jones bringing Curtis down.
And they're going to give him a yard on that. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 9 from the near hash mark. Coach Taylor talked about a steady diet of Jolin Curtis, and he was not kidding. So far, Curtis has carried the ball
7 times.
7 times.
I think we'll also see as this game progresses, Austin Walker getting some carries.
Again, snap. And under pressure almost immediately is Caden Nolan forced to throw the ball away. And what they've done now is they've been playing out of that little pistol formation, Ross, to try to get some separation so that the quarterbacks can kind of get out of the way of the pulling guards and the pulling tackles and let some of those really wonderful plays that Coach Taylor has develop.
And in that situation, Dontre McLean was able to get through that line and into the backfield to take.
He didn't get through. Nobody touched him. He just came sailing in.
Curtis trying to bounce off the right-hand side, and this West Orange Stark Mustang defense very, very, very aggressive, wrapping him up after about the pickup of another yard.
Linebacker DeMarcus Warren had the initial contact on Curtis and was part of that tackle.
No, that's not a flag. It was a pad.
Well, there was a West Orange player who came in to try to finish off the tackle, and he came in low, and he almost hit Jolin's helmet with his.
No, that was this defensive end on this side. That was the towel he's got stuck in the back.
Looks like the Panthers are getting ready to call a timeout, and they're going to take their first timeout at the 2:34 mark. Liberty trailing 8-0. The Mustangs scoring on their first drive. Liberty on their first drive had to punt and then got it right back, Ross.
Well, I was going to say, on that previous play, it was close to being called. It was not called, and I don't think the contact happened helmet to helmet.
But the spearing you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it did not appear from up here as if he was doing it to spear necessarily. He left his feet, and when he did, Curtis was going down.
He was targeting, but he just missed his target. Is that what you're saying?
No, I do not think he was targeting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He has to hit his target to be guilty.
Yes. That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm slow tonight, Neil. You got to help me sometimes.
I'd like to thank
Actually,
our
all the
sponsors,
time.
Ross, Emily Cook, attorney at law, scoreboard sponsor, working on that, having some difficulty with that right now. And also our first big-time sponsor, the Liberty ISD Education Foundation.
LibertyEducationFoundation.net. You can donate today. They do a lot of great for our school district, great things for our school district.
With a long fourth down for the Panthers. And Austin Walker back there, high snap, pulled it down and then had nowhere to go with it. And so that may be a turnover on downs there.
We're going to have a flag.
But there's a flag, yes.
Downfield at about the 17-yard line. Maybe the 18-yard line.
Well, that may be a gift for the Panthers.
It may be holding.
It must be holding because it can't be pass interference unless the ball's in the air. Could be defensive holding. Could all it could be.
That snap that was high, Austin Walker had to jump up to pull it down, and that cost him some time. But there may have been an issue, too, downfield, and that is what it's going to be.
And that's going to be an automatic first down for the Liberty Panthers. And, again, just taking advantage of the moments when they present themselves, Ross, able to get out of starting on their half-yard line, having to punt, getting it back, and now a long fourth down that was helped out by a penalty.
That is something that sometimes in a game like this you really have to – you don't have to have, but is nice to have. This drive starting off that turnover on the punt.
Certainly not going to give it back.
No.
First and 10 from the Mustang 27-yard line. Curtis coming over the right-hand side, trying to hurdle a defender and getting his feet caught up, and looks like he may have lost a yard on that.
Titus Bell, the fullback, came across the field here to the near side and got one of the linebackers, but another one got through as Bell was losing his footing.
And now have an injured Mustang on the field right now.
Talk about the Liberty Education Foundation, the work that they do. They give grants to teachers for projects that would be otherwise out of their budget through the school. And they've done some pretty neat things in robotics. They've done some neat things across all campuses at the Liberty Independent School District, and they rely on donations. And LibertyEducationFoundation.net.
I think Coach Joe Rob's a recipient of some
and
of that.
And our producer, Richard Ewing.
Yeah. Some of that grant money. Been a great thing.
It's been a very great thing. I took that grant money and
You went to Las Vegas?
well, you know,
No, you
I don't want to say that.
Took that grant money and you're watching through it right now.
That's part of it, yes.
Yeah.
It was very instrumental. All right, second down and long for the Panthers. Snap again, and this time a little jump pass, and that really didn't do a bunch.
Nothing, but it was a reception.
It was a reception. So Caden Nolan to Mason Goodo on that jump pass, and that's going to result in getting right back to the line of scrimmage there. This Mustang defense flying all over the place, Ross, and hardly giving the Panthers any chance to breathe.
Actually lost one.
Yeah, and one of the big guys on that defense, DeMarcus Warren, was right there for the hit.
Oh,
Nolan
whoa.
having to roll out to his left and getting tattooed in the backfield before he's able to let that ball fly, and it went out of bounds, and that's going to bring up another fourth down for the Panthers from the Mustang 30-yard line. And I'm wondering, well, they're not getting Montez ready, so they're not even considering a field goal right here.
No, and that play was borderline on whether a flag should have been thrown for roughing. The guy
they are bringing him in, too.
That got through
They better
the
hurry.
line.
They got 13 seconds.
Well, they are going to go ahead and try the field goal
Better
here.
be watching the clock.
Goodo's going to be
Watch the
on to
clock.
hold
Call
for
time.
that.
Call
Montez.
time.
And Coach Taylor's going to be forced to take a timeout there. Second timeout in the first quarter, 1:06 to go here. And Liberty trotting on sophomore Brian Montez to attempt the, what was that, going to be a 47-yard field goal. And personnel not quite ready. I don't know if they were considering going for it or not.
I want to give you an update on the Astros game, Game 6 of the American League Championship Series in Houston. They lead 1-0, and that is after 2.5 innings. They're about to come up in the bottom of the third inning.
Ross, can we talk about Framber Valdez and that stellar game that he had the other night? Wow.
You know the best thing about Framber Valdez? Watch him come off the field grinning every time. He enjoys the game. He really enjoys the game.
He is an interesting starting pitcher. He has a sinker. He is a two-pitch starting pitcher. He has a sinker, a power sinker, and a curveball. And we'll get into that a little bit later.
All right, Panthers set for a 47-yard field goal attempt. The snap is good. The hold is good. And he's not going to get enough on that. I think he scooped that a little bit too much.
Pushed it fat on that one.
Pushed it left and short, and that is going to be a turnover after the missed field goal attempt. And the Mustangs are going to have the ball on their 30-yard line. Actually, no, they'll have the ball on their – yeah, they will have it on their 30-yard line.
Yeah.
Framber started for the Astros in Game 1 of the ALCS, and he did not have the success. He is the kind of pitcher that when that power sinker is going, he can absolutely dominate, gets a ton of ground balls, and you saw a lot of double plays get him out of situations where runners were on base.
All right, Mustangs taking over for their second possession of the game. Going to hand the ball. Nope, going to keep the ball. And Colby Ewing, a lot of pressure in the backfield and still on his feet and missing a tackle here. And what looked like a monster loss on the play turned into a very large gainer for the Mustangs, now up to their, looks like, 47-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Under a minute to go, Ross.
DeCarry and Judge, that looked like a situation where West Orange was wanting to run the option, but his outlet was not there, and so he had to dump it off to Judge. And Judge doing that great job getting all the way across the field.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Man in motion. Jet action. and going to hand it to the jet sweep and going to get pulled down over there, and that's going to be Titus Bell and Caleb Chandler on the stop for the Panthers, and that's going to get just about right back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. 2nd and 10, and going to keep the clock going, and that may be the last play of the first quarter, Ross. Well, no, they're going to try to get one off.
Ball carrier was Jalen Brown. We have not talked about him tonight. He got his first carry on that sweep.
Trips to the left for Robinson, and there's going to be some movement on the line again.
It is going to be against Liberty.
Going to be an offside, and they are just so keyed in on trying to stop the myriad weapons that the Mustangs have, causing some issues here. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Mustangs.
5 penalties in one quarter. That's more penalties than they had in the whole game last week.
Going to hand the ball again up the middle, trying to bounce to the outside. Still on his feet. And at the conclusion of the first quarter, a big gainer for the Mustangs. That's going to move the sticks. That's going to do it for quarter number 1 at Dan R. Hook Stadium here in West Orange, Texas. Your Liberty Panthers trailing 8-0. And the story of the first quarter for me, Ross, were some miscues, but also the Panthers chewed up most of the first quarter despite their miscues.
They started their first drive in a precarious situation on the 1-yard line, had a couple of penalties, had to delay a game to start that first drive, and then 2 procedure penalties in that drive consecutively. A Jaden Shemp punt on 4th down, a boomer as he was punting from about his 3-yard line, fielded about the 50-yard line.
36-yarder.
36-yard punt. So he was a little further down the field, and it was muffed, and Caden Nolan able to jump on it, and the Panthers moved it a little down the field, and they had a holding penalty against West Orange that kept the drive alive, and then the missed field goal. But yes, I think the key to that first quarter for the Panthers, they are trailing 8-0, was the ability to hold that ball.
All right, Robinson in the shotgun formation, doubles to his left and right, and going to hand the ball off to the lone back. And it gets stopped pretty quickly. Titus Bell and Victor Ruiz in on the stop there for the Panthers. Going to pick up of about 2 on that carry. 2nd down and 8 as the Mustangs now at the Panther 34-yard line, middle of the hash mark. Ross?
William Waldrop and Bo Fowler were not far behind. They were ready in case he had broken away. They were right there to wrap him up.
Again, Robinson back for the Mustangs. This time going to be a double reverse.
It's a hold over there, they call it, and they did.
Got it.
And that's going to go nowhere, and some extra there at the end. The officials with their whistle's not super loud.
It was not. I don't know that was not blown until that hit had already happened.
At any rate, there was a flag on the play, and presumably it's going to be a hold against the Mustangs.
Yeah.
We'll see what the official is going to say, and that's what he initially has indicated. Oh, now they're going to call a block in the back, and so that's going to really undo some of those big gainers that the Mustangs had. It's going to bring up 3rd and extremely long. Ball pushed back to the Panther 43-yard line. Far hash mark. Again, doubles to the left and right. Man in motion. And this time, the Panthers almost getting it. And Ewing close to getting the quarterback twice. And Robinson still on his feet. And after all of that, still going to lose a couple of yards. And the
like
athleticism.
Trying to tackle a bumblebee.
Yeah, he was, trying to get, and Titus and also Caleb Chandler were going for the waist, and they kept getting that towel.
Well, Colby Ewing was back there and had a couple of swings at him, and that's definitely a young man that I don't want running at me as fast as he can.
No, he can hit hard.
Well, at any rate, that's going to be another loss on the play for the Mustangs. Ball back at the Panther 47-yard line, far hash mark, 3rd and a mile for the Mustangs.
About 23 and 22, 23.
Trips to the short side and dropping back, and going to be a little screen action and going to get pulled down. As soon as the screen happened, the Panther defense ready and waiting. Another loss on the play, and the ball now back at the Panther 40, probably 49-yard line, 48 and a half, Ross.
Colby Ewing lighting him up.
I think he was a little undone by missing him twice and was ready to come back at him.
He was not. I mean, he just absolutely met him head on and took him down.
Well, the West Orange Stark Mustangs sending their punt team on for the first time. It's going to be a nice punt. Fielded not cleanly, but maybe able to get back on it.
It does look like he was able to get back on it. I did not see who that was at first. That was Austin
Walker back there.
That's generally really sure hands there.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened there on Walker because that punt came at him, and he didn't have to move his hands to field that. And typically when that happens, a guy like Austin Walker does not miss the ball, and that just came in and out of his hands. We've seen it now twice. Both teams have done that on punts.
Well, when you see that sort of action, a lot of times the return man is thinking about what they're about to do instead of thinking about where that ball is about to be.
Yeah, it was too pretty for him because it was a low punt. He had a little room in front of him. He got a little happy, I think.
Caden Nolan in this pistol formation. And another high snap, but pulls it down. Curtis with the ball, still on his feet, bounces at the outside, and gets to the 20-yard line. A nice pickup after what looked like was going to be a loss on the play.
Liberty has always got a running back that is good for yards after contact, always. I don't know if it's the back coaches that do it or what happens, but they've always got a running back that if you touch him, you better wrap him up and tackle him all the way to the ground because he's going to run. He'll run around you or run through you.
10 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Panthers in the middle of their second possession. And again, Curtis over the left-hand side trying to pick up the first down and going to get maybe a yard on that carry. It's going to bring up 3rd and about a yard and a half for the Panthers. But most importantly, it's going to keep that clock running, and it's going to keep eating up clock.
The linebacker Bryson Jordan able to come unabated through that line. And it looked like they were going to have a chip block there, but it did not happen. There was no contact, and that's how he got back there so fast.
Nolan, the quarterback, coming back in with the play.
I wonder if I can say anything more obvious.
Well, there is a pool on that. Again, pistol formation. Nice option, and the ball not loose. Secured.
See who covered it.
Liberty's got it. It looks
like
it was
Joe Randolph comes up with that.
Did they gain any yardage on it?
That was Joe Randolph.
That's my spirit animal. That's my name. That's my first and middle name right there.
Is that right?
That's right.
Well,
that's why I love that kid.
You know, they're going to have to punt here as Shemp's on. He's going to stand, I guess, inside his 10-yard line. But you would think the punt will be a lot better than what it would have been had Stark taken over.
Well,
got a hand on it. Somebody got a hand on it.
And yeah,
partially
blocked there. That's the only thing that I can think from here, and so that turned into nothing. And the Mustangs are going to have the ball in some very optimal field position.
And that was not a very smart play by the guy that fielded that punt. He fielded it in traffic and very close to losing it there. And that would have been
first down Liberty.
Exactly. And I don't understand why he fielded that punt like he did.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Double to their left and right of Robinson, the quarterback. Going to hand the ball over the right-hand side, and it looks as though that's going to be number 4, Elijah Gale, that takes that ball and has a nice pickup on that carry.
William Waldrop got him and was able to bring him down, and we have got a flag now that has come in after this play. And there is a West Orange Stark player who was very animated coming off the field right now. I don't know exactly what happened or where this is going to be called. We'll find out soon enough as the official now. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Both sides?
It is
no, that way.
Going to be West Orange Stark.
Man.
Well, that's going to push the ball way back after a really nice carry by number 4. That's going to bring the ball all the way back to the Panther 28.5-yard line. Not quite the 29-yard line. And it's going to bring up second down and about 17?
Yes, that was going to be on an offensive lineman, Joshua Sterling.
Robinson in the shotgun again. Trips to his right on the short field, and it's looking like an option here. Going to get the ball away, and Gale's trying to spin out of coverage and going to get back close to the original line of scrimmage, just a little short of that. We're up third down and 11 or so for the Mustangs, and this Panther defense doing everything they can to limit the damage done by these great Mustang runners.
And on this drive, that is something that the defense has.
Oh, and there's another flag on the play.
They're calling this hold over here. Holding, yeah, he fell on him. He fell on him late on him. I was wondering. Decline.
So there were 2 penalties on that
play. 2 holding penalties.
2 holding. One is going to be declined, and the one that's going to be accepted was further back. Flag is sitting at about the 33-yard line, so it'll be a 10-yard mark off from there. And this drive keeps going backwards.
It's the direction that the Panthers want it to go.
Yeah.
That's going to push the ball back to the Panther 37-yard line near hash mark, and it's going to be second and forever for the Mustangs. Doubles to the left and right of Robinson, the quarterback. And dropping back to pass. Going to throw it over the left-hand side, and that's going to be a great strike down there, and that's going to be close to the first down that they need.
Austin Walker with the big hit to take him out of bounds. And I'm looking to
13.
see the number of the receiver, and that is going to be Dontre McLean. He was the receiver there. That ball a little underthrown, and Austin Walker was ready coming over from across the middle of the field to get him on the sideline.
It's going to bring up third down and short for the Mustangs. Again, trips to the wide side of the field. And it looks like they're going to hand the ball up the middle, and the initial contact going to be by number 58, Victor Ruiz, and then cleaned up by Waldrop and Colby Ewing, as well as Austin Walker.
Austin Walker came in late there. Ewing able to get through that offensive line.
That's going to be at first and 10 for the Mustangs at the 11-yard line of the Panthers. Far hash mark. 7:30 to go here in the second quarter. Trips to the wide side for Robinson. You're going to hand the ball up the middle and going to walk in number 4, Elijah Gale. Touchdown at the 7:20 mark. The Mustangs strike again and are now leading 14-0. Presumably, well, they're going to send on somebody. It looks like they're getting set to kick, so they're going to go for the extra point conversion.
On that play, West Orange Stark was able to knock Titus Bell down, and that left that big hole, a big seam there. William Waldrop and Bo Fowler tried to close it up, but were not able to.
Snap is good. The hold's good, and the kick is through the uprights. At the 7:20 mark in the second quarter, the West Orange Stark Mustangs leading 15-0 over your Liberty Panthers. You're watching Liberty Panther Sports Network on panthersports.com. That's sports with a Z. I'm Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood alongside me. Neil Thornton on stats, producer Richard Ewing. And Neil, tell us about that scoring drive.
Four plays with the penalties in there. 4 plays, 19 yards altogether. Oh, that can't be right. That can't be right. Well, I guess it is 19 yards when they started where they were and then backed up. Yeah, so it was actually only a 19 positive yard drive. PAT was good at the 7:20 mark. And Scores 15-0.
I love it when we get to watch Neil's brain work like that. It always brings joy to my heart.
It's kind of funny because they started their drive after those 2 penalties from down here. They were as far back one time as the 37-yard line, but they only had to come up with 19 positive yards, had to overcome those penalties first, and then 19 positive yards on the drive.
All right, Valtierra and Curtis back deep for the Panthers. Ross?
Bottom of the 4th inning in Houston about to get underway. Houston still leads Boston 1-0. Alex Bregman will lead it off for Houston.
How did they score their first one, do you know?
I do not have that information right now.
If it was just one, I'm thinking home run, but I don't know.
Alvarez double.
Alvarez double.
And Mustangs with the high, deep kick. Valtierra fields it at the 10-yard line. Up the middle, still on his feet into the pile, and finally brought down at about the 32-yard line. Liberty starting with some pretty nice field position on their, call this their second possession, second-ish. Well, really third, I guess, if you're.
Alex Valtierra and William Waldrop opened a little bit of running room with some blocks.
Now they're going to give him at the 30.5-yard line.
That's about a 20-yard return.
Yeah,
that was a nice return.
That was William Waldrop and Valtierra.
That's actually Liberty's 1, 2, 3. This is their 4th possession.
All right, Panthers breaking the sideline huddle. Cade Nolan back in the shotgun. And this spread offensive formation. Goodo in
he fumbled.
And they
motion.
picked it up.
And the mesh was just not very good, and that's going to be a fumble and a turnover by the Liberty Panthers.
Andrew Wilson, the West Orange Stark Mustang, who fell on that one.
Well, that's something that just simply cannot happen, Ross. Those are simple Simon things that need to be taken care of.
It's been an issue throughout the year. They've had to change centers several times because of injuries, and that always throws it off. And then you have a defensive line that's coming through, and you're trying to speed things up. And against a team like West Orange Stark, it's not going to end well if those things keep happening.
That's the exchange between the quarterback and the wingback coming around.
Yeah.
Yes.
One would think that one could hand a ball to someone.
They're having a discussion, the officials are. I did not see
call
a
that
flag.
He pitched it forward. They may call this an incomplete pass.
They might be thinking about that because he was in front of him.
Yeah.
So
he pitched it, and I think he did pitch it.
Well, that would be a break for the Panthers if that is indeed what they're going to call on that.
See what the Whitehead says. Oh, he's on the mic. Let's see what we got.
That is exactly what is going to happen
call.
as the offense makes their way back onto the field.
And how about a break for the Panthers right there,
man.
Ross?
That's the second big break as they had the fumble recovery on the muffed punt, on the muffed punt field, whatever. I can't talk. I don't know what's wrong with me.
It's fair week, Ross. Fair week.
You know, and that's a great excuse. The problem is we don't have we don't have fair week every week, so that doesn't explain it.
Pretty moon coming up over there at the east end of the stadium.
Well, that's going to bring up that should be second down and 10. The down box.
There they did.
There, he's fixed it. Second down and 10 for the Panthers. And staying in the spread look, trips to the left. Single receiver to the short side.
Block somebody.
And nice dart. Valtierra with a great catch.
Yeah.
And it comes loose, and it is recovered by West Orange Stark.
Got to give him the reception, though.
And
the Carey and Judge recovered that for West Orange, so you give it back, and this time it was a completed pass, but they just couldn't hold on to it. He was hit almost immediately. He had possession, though, unfortunately.
I got to tell you, I've been teaching for a while now, and my mind is starting to work in text ease, and that for me was an SMH, right there.
Yeah, and Nolan had him open, wide open.
That was a nice throw, by the way.
And was able to execute that throw.
And this time,
Got to tackle him.
not able to. There we go. Finally, the Panthers coming through and wrapping him up. They're having a devil of a time getting purchase on the Mustang offensive players.
Darren Anderson had the reception for West Orange Stark on that near sideline.
And Panthers deep in their own territory after the turnover. Second down and not too much for the Mustangs. Doubles to the left, single receiver to the right. And they're going to hand the ball off up the middle. And Waldrip able to get a hand on him to slow him down. And then finally getting pulled down by number 4.
Quentin Johnson.
We haven't called his name in a couple of minutes. And number 10, Caleb Chandler.
Is it Johnson or
Johnston?
Johnston. Okay, I thought it was Johnston. I, of course, another screw up on my part, have him on our board as Johnson.
Well, you need to stop doing that.
I do need to stop doing that.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs after that play.
Pick up a
Spread formation, doubles to the left and right. And another option look. And this time the Mustangs pick up a big chunk, 20 yards on that. And are they going to give him the touchdown, or are they going to give him it at the 1 yard line or the half yard line?
They're going to discuss it right now.
They've definitely not made a call.
Well, his knee went down kind of in a whip fashion, yeah.
At the half-yard line is where this one's going to be spotted.
It's going to be 1st and goal from the half-yard line of the Panthers.
Johnston was right there for Liberty and could not get his legs as he had lost his footing and was going down, and he was able to kind of sidestep him.
And a short field, and just going to punch the ball into the end zone. And at the 9:56 mark, nope, I'm sorry, 5:56 mark in
4?
The second quarter, the Mustangs of West Orange Stark are going to go up 21-0.
Elijah Gell scoring the touchdown for the Mustangs.
Again, sending on the extra point team for the Mustangs. Right now, the Panthers just having actually, they're not playing terribly defensively.
It is the little issues and those little things.
And the snap is good, the hold is good, and the kick is through. 5:56 to go here in the second quarter. West Orange Stark 22, your Liberty Panthers 0.
The kind of the little things, and I say little, but they're getting some good play from their offensive line. They're getting some good play from their defensive line. Holding on to the football. That's been an issue again tonight.
Yeah.
And penalties.
Liberty's fumbled 3 times. They've only lost 1, but that one was very critical.
Well, they have been helped by several big breaks on the other side. And
penalties, right.
The Panthers, again, they're a whisper. They're a breath. They're just a little bit here being away from this. And I think Coach Taylor thought that was probably going to be one of the things that they were looking at.
Well, and I have been a little surprised at West Orange Stark and some of their execution and how it has not happened. And they've gotten fortunate a couple of times, or this game would have a different score.
And another high, deep kickoff. It's going to be fielded at 10 again. And again, Valtiero with the carry, still on his feet and going to get back to just about the exact spot that he got to the last time he returned the ball. 5:50 to go in the second quarter, and the Panthers again trying to kickstart this offense to do something before halftime and not go down 3 scores heading into the break.
Darian Jones with the tackle.
Again, want to thank our sponsors on the evening. I have another scoreboard sponsor, Firm Foundations, Healthcare Clinic, Brandon Smith. Is that right, producer Richard Ewing? Brandon Smith? Dr. Smith? Do we call him Dr. Smith?
No.
No. P.A. Smith?
Right.
Okay. And, wow, that looked like a little extra coverage on that. Mason Goodo not able to come up with that pass. It's going to stop the clock. 2nd down and 10 for the Panthers.
There was some contact by Dontre McClain. He was right there. And
yeah, he could have, but it didn't. I don't.
No, it was very
slight. Not
slight.
enough. I don't think he would have thrown the flag.
Nolan, shotgun formation, trips to his left, rolling out, and that's going to be a pick 6. Mustangs taking advantage of that throw.
DeCarrion Judge with the interception.
We have a situation where was it Samuel Morse that came up with Morse code? Is that right? And then who came up with the telegraph? Do you know that answer,
What's that?
Neil? When you were a little boy,
the telegraph.
Yeah, the
Samuel
telegraph.
F. Reed Morse.
Okay.
Morse did the code. I think Morse was actually the one that developed the telegraph.
Well, you just saw a telegraph right there.
And that was throwing. The ball was not thrown with enough zip to get by. It was not high enough, and he just cut that.
Now,
route.
to be fair, he is under duress, and we're talking
right.
about
No. This is not.
This is
is
under duress.
I was
just
just
from
saying,
an optical sort of situation.
Right. You can't wait, especially with athletes like West Orange Sharks got. You can't wait till your receiver gets open to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball when he's getting open. And if you wait for him to be open, he won't be open long. It won't be open long. They'll have an athlete in front of it, and he'll catch it and take it in.
At the 5:42 mark in the second quarter, Mustangs taking advantage of an interception return and now lead 29-0. Liberty trying again to get something going offensively. We've talked about it multiple times. They're not playing terribly. It's just a little here, a little there that's just really starting to snowball for them. Valtierra and Curtis back again. And this Mustang offense and defense finally starting to wake up after being a little sleepy in the first quarter. Valtierra fields it at the 8-yard line on his feet and runs into the crowd and gonna get to just about the 26-yard line maybe. See where they're gonna spot that. Looks like they're gonna spot it on the 26. 5:36 to go here in the second quarter. And the Liberty Panthers doing a lot of different offensive stuff tonight that we don't normally see them do. Some of that is by design, and a lot of that is because they are down.
Well, and I think Coach Taylor has been keeping a lot of this in the bag, too, just strictly for this game, knowing this is going to be the hardest game of the district season.
And now going back into their double wing, double tight formation. Curtis taking the ball over the left-hand side, trying to bounce out, and a host of Mustangs pulling him down, led by number 3.
Dontre McClain.
We called his name a lot tonight.
He has been really involved.
That's going to be a loss on the play.
About 3, I guess.
Okay, we got 2nd down and long. The Panthers on their 23-yard line, near hash mark. Need to get to their 36-yard line for a first down. Clock still continuing to run. 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. You're watching the Liberty Panthers Sports Network, panthersports.com. That's sports with a Z. And why is it a Z? Because of $2,400 that would have cost us to pay for sports with an S. How about that?
It's something
and
different.
Nolan rolling out to his right and just misfiring. Not able to find Valtierra. That's going to stop the clock and bring up 3rd down. 4:44 in the second quarter. Your Liberty Panthers trailing 29-0. Right before the break.
Oh, 4:44, yes.
Yeah, 4:44. How about that?
That's where the clock is.
That's where it is. Again.
I didn't think normally, and like I tell y'all all the time, I don't know that much about football, but I didn't think normally that the referees started the clock quite as fast after an interception as this crew does.
They've been quick.
Valtierra in motion. Again, Nolan back, trying to avoid the.
Hold the ball, son.
defense and not able to, but most importantly, he's able to tuck the ball and retain possession.
I was about to mention that, Joe. As soon as he figured that he was in trouble, he, instead of trying to look and get a little more time, he tucked that ball and kept that ball, and that probably prevented a turnover.
Now the Panthers at their own 20-yard line, sending on the punt team, but the Mustangs are going to take a timeout. It's the 4:41 mark in the second quarter. Mustangs timeout, leading 29-0. Ross.
That's their first timeout of the half, and with this ball, it is at the 20-yard line, and only 4:41 left. That's an eternity with 2 timeouts and stops on first down. I would not be surprised if they're coming in and talking about coming out on a full-out block.
They may indeed do that. There's nothing lost if they don't get it. They've shown the proclivity to be able to pick up big chunks of yards wherever they are on the field.
If you pick up on that, you can snap to a short man a lot of times and blast through there while they're going after the punter and get you 12 or 15 yards before they wake up. It's kind of risky, but.
Well, I have something unhappy to report. Astros had the runners at second and third with nobody out, and they did not score.
Shemp back to punt for the Panthers.
He's gonna kick. Oh.
And not able to hang on to it. And that is going to be. Well,
he recovered it. It doesn't really matter because even if he hadn't, it would have still been their ball.
On downs, but it lost. They lost from the 19 back to the about the 7.
Yeah,
so they lost 12 yards.
Snap was a little high, but again, when you're seeing someone in your face constantly, you're trying to rush things, and we've seen that a few times.
Yeah, the very, very speedy offensive, defensive West Orange Stark, that's just killer.
And again, going to hand the ball off over the right-hand side, and the Mustangs going to pick up a few on that.
Caleb Chandler made contact and threw him off just a little bit.
Second down and goal for the Mustangs.
You pick up about 3.
Yeah, just about 3 yards. Going to be on the Panther 7-yard line, middle of the hash marks.
Yeah.
Robinson, the quarterback, on doubles to his right, single to his left.
Inside reverse.
And
what's the number on that kid? Number 4
and
again.
the Mustangs going to step into the end zone for another score, and they are going to be up 35-0.
Elijah Gales.
And he's something special, Ross.
We talked about him, and you'll hear at halftime. We talked to him, or did not talk to him, but we talked about him earlier in the week.
And the snap is good. The hold is good. The kick is up and through. 3:53 to go here in the second quarter. And the West Orange Stark Mustangs 36, Liberty 0. Neil, drive summary?
2 plays, 10 yards. Gale scores on a 7-yard slant at the 3:53 mark. That brings that young man to 11 carries, 59 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the night.
Well, Coach Taylor and company, I know they're itching to get into the locker room and get this over with so that they can make their adjustments. One of the things that they're going to really be looking for is to calm these boys down and to get them right back in a headspace where they can compete. And no matter what the score ends up being, to step out of here with a nice head on their shoulders, looking forward to next week back at home as they host Bridge City. And Bridge City was always something on their calendar that was circled as a must-win game for them.
Bridge City and Hampshire Finette, the final game of the regular season.
Another deep kick can be fielded by Curtis, and on his feet, trying to bounce through and finally getting pulled down at about the 23-yard line. While we're waiting for the Panther offense to step out there, don't forget, next Friday from, is it 10 to 4? 10-4 in the Brookshire Brothers parking lot? Is that the Willie Davy, the Deputy Willie Davy sausage on a stick benefit? He was injured in a fall some time ago in the LHS law enforcement program, doing a fundraiser to help out his family with medical expenses.
I want to give a word about that law enforcement class. Coach Higginbotham has done a wonderful job. They are everywhere, Joe, and you see them around the school, and whether it's at one of your cross-country events, they are there to assist, and they do a fantastic job.
All right, a little short toss to the Panthers over the right-hand side, and this time that was, trying to see who carried that ball.
Austin Walker.
And indeed, Austin Walker, the ball carrier.
I can see their numbers.
Going to pick up about 2 yards on that carry.
Well, and one of the other things that complicates it is a lot of their skilled position players have their jerseys, they're not all the way down. They're on back part of their shoulder pad. I haven't seen that since the 80s.
Tails are pulled up, trying to cool off a little, really, I know.
You know, we had that false fall last week, and we thought maybe the cooler weather was coming through, and Mother Nature said, no, I don't think so, not yet. And another handoff, and this time
I think that was
the Mustang defense sniffing that out. And number 33, Titus Bell,
yes,
the big part-time fullback, stepping through there and not really getting anything, in fact, losing a yard or two on that.
West Orange is going to take their second time out of the half.
2:46 to go, and West Orange looking to continue this scoring onslaught. Liberty very successful in the first quarter of eating up clock, and then a series of miscues along the way have given the Mustangs just very prime real estate to start drives from, and that's what's resulted in this lopsided score that we're seeing right now.
You know, traditionally Liberty has played West Orange Stark as good as anybody in the district, better generally. We've held them to less points and less yards than anybody in the district the last either 3 or 4 years in a row. But it seemed like they've got our number tonight.
Well, this was never a game that was circled on the calendar as a must-win for the Panthers, although you never want to get punched in the mouth at any time. The Panthers going to be home next Friday, 7:30 p.m. kickoff, senior night. Bridge City going to be coming to town. That game was always circled as a must-win. If the Panthers can manage to win that game, and then probably the following week as they travel to Hampshire-Finette, that will be a winner-take-all for the last playoff spot coming out of 11-4A, Ross.
Empty backfield.
Jet sweep.
And Goodo not able to get any opening. Did a great job following his blocker. There just was nowhere to go.
No, and he was on that sweep there. He tried to stop and cut back inside, and when he did that, he had nothing on the outside, and the guys on the inside were just there for him.
Several missed blocks on that.
And the Mustangs going to take their last timeout of the half. 2:37 to go here in the second quarter, and the Panthers facing a 4th and long from deep in their territory at their, looks like, about 23-yard line.
You know, Joe, interesting here. West Orange Stark leads 36-0 right now. And they have now burned 2 of their timeouts, their final 2 timeouts, to stop the clock. And it is a head-scratching move. I understand that snaps over his head.
And 2.
And that's going to be a safety. Jaden Shemp can't handle that high snap. Going to have to fall on the ball in the end zone. It's going to be a safety. That's going to be 38-0 now. And now the Panthers are going to be forced to kick the ball to the Mustangs. And West Orange really trying to close the door early, I would guess, so that they can get some of their other folk on the sideline some playing time. I don't know if that's the case or not.
It is a puzzling move for me, and I don't want to criticize another team's coaching staff, and I'm not. I just was bringing up that is something that seemed odd to me. Shemp did his best to go up and try to get that, and he just could not get it. It was out of his reach. And he did the next best thing, which was recover it in the end zone and go down.
Montez going to be kicking this ball from the Panther 20-yard line. And correct me if I'm wrong, they can choose to kick it or punt it.
Any way you can get it down off your foot. That's right. It just has to be off your foot.
Yeah, it does not have to be a drop kick.
It can be high and going to be fielded at the 40-yard line. Still on his feet. And cutting to the left, up the middle, trying to break. And the Mustangs able to get back into Panther territory at the Panther 37-yard line. Or actually 38-yard line.
William Waldrop and Manny Freeman were there, and there was a little contact between the two, and it opened a little bit of a hole there for him to get through.
2:25 to go here in the second quarter, and it seems like this last couple of minutes has been forever, as there have been multiple scores.
Well, and you've had the timeouts as well.
And the multiple timeouts. Robinson, again, quarterback, doubles to his right, and going to look back to pass the ball over the right-hand side, and that's going to be broken up by the Panthers, and that's number, and I can't even see this.
That was Landon
16.
Curry.
Landon Curry. All right. That's a name that we have not heard a bunch of.
Yeah, well, remember, he's the one that fell on the
that's right, opportunistic on the kickoff against Hardin Jefferson. That's going to stop the clock at 2:18, bring up second down and 10 for the Mustangs from the Panther 39-yard line. Far hash mark.
I would not be upset if the Panthers were able to intercept one and run it back for 6 here.
Well, no.
They're going to hand that ball off,
It's
and
going
to be whistled. And since they stopped that no contact, that probably is going to be a false start against the Mustangs.
Yeah, there were a couple of Mustangs that were moving early.
And that's going to push the ball back and going to bring up second down again.
Astros update, middle of the fifth inning, still 1-0. Maldonado will lead it off for Houston. He's in the 9 spot in the order.
Second down and 15 for the Mustangs. Twins to the left and right for Robinson. Man in motion. And going to hand the ball again. And still on his feet. Finally getting pulled down by Mason Godot after being hung on to by William Waldrop. And looks like that is Victor Ruiz down there.
Yeah, and a couple of very good blocks by the West Orange Stark line. But the speed of Godot was enough to keep him from making a huge gain.
Going to bring up third down and 8 for the Mustangs. Clock continuing to run. No timeouts left for them. It's about 10 seconds on the play clock.
I've now seen a lot. Maldonado got a hit.
Rolling out, Robinson. And that was almost that almost fell right into the hands of Quentin Johnston.
And Landon Curry was right there. Had to turn around, spin around to try to make a play. That ball, not a very good throw. And his receiver had to come back to the ball.
Let's see if they punt.
It's going to stop the clock at 1:06. Going up fourth down and long for the Mustangs. They got the ball, or they have the ball. Did I just say they got the ball?
They got the ball.
They got the ball. Wow.
You make a contraction out of that, you're okay. They've got the ball.
I've digressed a little bit here.
In the second half, we are going to be breaking down sentence structure.
I think so. Well, they are indeed bringing on the punting unit, but they're going to direct snap. And that's going to be close to the first down mark. And they may have that, and they're going to spot them with first down yardage. So the direct snap on the pretend punt there.
Guys, y'all are going to have to really help me. I don't know if self-restraint is going to be enough as this goes on because, I'm sorry. It is 38-0.
There's no sense in that. I'm sorry.
You've got a minute left. in the half.
You know, as a coach, I go back and forth on this. It's hard for me to tell kids to not do.
Well,
but that's the play calling. That's the play call.
I have no problem. They're doing that.
Yeah,
they're executing that
play.
And they did a good job executing that play.
And handoff up the middle, and going to get cleaned up after a big pickup. It's going to be second down and short. And going back to that point, it's almost more disrespectful to me when people call off the dogs and start throwing out the second and third teamers.
Right, and I'm not advocating for them to stop trying to score. I just have a problem with the trick plays.
Well, this is a great game in order to do that. With no timeouts, they're going to try to kick this field goal on second down. And that's going to be blocked and fielded by number 9, Goodo. He's going to get pulled down out of bounds.
Literally.
Titus Bell a little shaky getting back up there, but back up indeed. 15 seconds to go, and the Panthers able to survive a field goal attempt on second down, and they did that because they had no more timeouts left. And I'm not really sure why they didn't let that clock work its way down a little bit more before they kicked the ball. But neither here nor there.
They probably want to score again.
Panthers 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line, far hash mark. And it looked like they probably have time to run one play here, depending on what they do.
Well, and I'm looking at the clock, and
they do have a timeout.
It's 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And not a minute 54, because I was thinking, wait a minute, how did all that time get back?
Well, definitely 15 seconds. Spread formation, doubles to the, and that's going to be a false start on the Panthers.
Clock is not going, so that will not, there will be no runoff, just 5 yards.
It's going to push the ball back to the Panther 35-yard line. Again, 15 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Panthers trailing 38-0. Spread formation, doubles to the right and left for Nolan. Dropping and looking, going to throw it over the left-hand side deep. And Gavin Fontenot,
he's got it.
Yeah, he did.
Comes down with an incredible catch.
He had 3 guys on him. 2 of them were fighting for the ball as well. And we'll get a timeout from Liberty.
That was a wonderful catch in traffic.
It was a very good throw by Nolan as well.
No one had a chance for that except for Fontenot. And in a night where not much has gone right for the Panthers, that was a nice spark perhaps to head into the locker room. That's going to bring up 1st and 10, and the Panthers taking their last timeout. 1st and 10 from the Mustang 30, Ross.
You know, Fontenot really stepping up there, because it would have been very easy for him to see these 3 guys and worry about the hit that was coming than it would have been to hold on to that ball, and he held on to that ball. Great catch.
He had to come back about a step, actually, and I think that's what broke him open. If the pass had been led, thrown out into there was a good possibility that the West Orange Star safety would either broken it up or picked it off. But he had to come back just a little bit, and it opened up a little bit of a gap there. He spun around, went up and got the ball. The amazing thing was that he kept, because like you said, there are 2 guys in his face and one behind him. And it's a wonder to me that he kept the ball, that they didn't rake the ball out.
Well, the Panthers in spread formation, probably going to be a jump ball in the end zone here. 9 seconds to go.
Oh,
and
they're going to
call that for sure.
He had him around the neck. That's all right. Can't end on a penalty.
Incomplete pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a hold against the Panthers.
Yeah, he got
there was no way around that one.
He had one arm wrapped around him.
And the runoff at the end of that, because of the penalty, is probably going to kill the clock there.
I'm not sure why there would be a runoff here. It was an incomplete pass.
I ain't either.
And the clock was not running. The clock has to be running for there to be a runoff.
Well, they're not going to run that off.
It's good to have somebody on the staff here that knows the rules of this game.
That is so true. The ball is going to be pushed back to the 40-yard line. And again, going to try and just throw this ball into the end zone if they're able to do it.
Right over there.
Mustangs going to try to provide some pressure here. Nolan in the shotgun and just dropping back and going to throw it over the middle. And
Go, Landon.
That's Gavin Fontenot again with the reception, still on his feet, trying to get into the end zone. And a crossing route through the middle that looked like nothing turned into a big gainer. Unfortunately, not able to get into the end zone.
Cord Carter on that play. He had been called for holding on the previous play. Had a good chip block on the guy that had come through and was going after Nolan, and it threw him off just enough to give Nolan time to get rid of that ball.
Nolan was 4 and 10 for the half pass, and 2 of those were to Gavin Fontenot for 73 yards, 35 and 38.
Liberty Panthers going to head into halftime, trailing 38-0. You're watching Liberty Panthers Sports Network on Panthersports.com. I'm Joe Roberts. Alongside me, Ross Norwood, producer Richard Ewing, stat man Neil Thornton, Oscar Sakata, junior producer on this evening, Eduardo Mata handling one of the sideline cameras, and Tanis Grimes handling the other camera.
He's up top. He's actually made his way now into the press box because he announces for the band at halftime.
And the Liberty Band on the sideline getting ready to perform their halftime show. Sean Smith and his crew, very successful last Saturday, went to marching contest and got straight ones, and that was enough to send them to the area contest coming up here pretty shortly. Congratulations to the Panther Band. We're going to stay here with the band coverage, and then as soon as the band coverage is over, we're going to jump to our halftime interview with Coach Taylor.
Before the band coverage starts, why don't you tell them what's going on Monday afternoon, Coach?
Yeah, you're right about that, Neil. The Liberty cross country team going to be headed to regionals on Monday in Huntsville at Cape Bar Ross State Park. I say sophomore. Junior Patrick Flowers, the back-to-back 21 4A district champion, going to be making his way and trying to extend his season by qualifying for state, and then senior Renee Romero qualifying as the 8th place finisher in 21 4A. And so those two young men are going to be running in Huntsville on Monday. Going to be running at 3 p.m. and attempting to make their way to state. Another great season by the Panther cross country team, and specifically those two members.
You know, I've had an opportunity to interview both of those guys and spend some time with them, and what incredible young men they are. Very dedicated to the running and the competition. That is really drives them because they're trying to balance their academics. Renee, he is in dual credit classes, so he is handling a college workload as well as his high school workload. And, you know, talking to him after the district meet, he talked about, you know, the running part of it, it's not as fun. It's the competition. And it's the same thing for Patrick with the competition and the running.
While you're watching the Panther Band and the Panther Prancers, although a lot of entities were honored during the TVE parade on Wednesday, among them the Lady Panther softball team riding some fire trucks and getting some more love for their great championship this past spring.
Much deserved.
Yeah, very well. Much deserved, absolutely.
They were on top of the Liberty ladder truck for that parade.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with Coach Slack with Joe last night and asked how it was. And he said, well, those things aren't made for sitting.
Some goings-on around the community, Ross.
I added the ain't part. He didn't.
Okay, all right. The LMS Theater Department going to be having some performances on Tuesday at the LISD Auditorium. I believe that's going to start at 6. Tickets $5. Multiple intro to theater classes doing some shows. And then next week, the Valley Players opening up Scream Queens, and that's going to be Thursday through Sunday. And those are going to be 7:30 p.m. curtain on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 p.m. curtain on Sunday.
Hey, Joe, we've got the Liberty Band playing right now. Let's listen to them for a little bit.
That's my cue to shut up. Another great performance by the Panther Band. I think that was, we've said it before, that was Vehicle, right?
Yes.
All right.
And they are under the direction of Sean Smith, and they have had a very successful competition season.
Yeah, we talked about that at the start of this. Got straight ones at marching contest last Saturday. Headed to the area marching contest. And I'm not sure if that's next week, 2 weeks from now. I can't remember when that is.
You know, the date slips my mind right now with a lot of other things. And
can I, before we get started playing here, can I make a shout out to
No.
my wife?
Yeah,
Please?
absolutely, absolutely.
She's performed on this field as a member of the Bingle Bells back in, I won't say what year, but
You better not.
when Orange still had 2 high schools. She went to Lutcher Stark High School, and she was a member of their drill team, which was the Bingle Bells. Stark High and West Orange, who was the West Orange Chiefs at the time, shared this field. So there was and it was a grass field, of course. There was a high school football game on this field every week from into August till November.
this stadium, I believe, Neil, was built around the same time the stadium at Liberty Memorial Stadium was built.
I think so.
It's an interesting stadium because it is concrete.
Yeah, like Liberty.
But there are no bleachers. You
Right.
just sit right on the concrete.
Yeah.
And they're in the process of redoing the stadium. They had passed a bond issue several years ago, and it's kind of a interesting situation here. The press box is always on the home side, and because I'm looking across the field right now, there is no press box on the home side. It's being constructed.
It's just girders right now.
to the halftime show. You're watching Liberty Panther Sports Network. I'm Joe Roberts alongside Ross Norwood. And as always, for our halftime show, we are here with Liberty Athletic Director, head football coach Chad Taylor. It's been a couple of minutes since we've talked to each other.
Yeah, we had a little week off last week, and it was much needed. So, I think we're ready for these next 3 weeks and see if we can't make us a little run at the playoffs.
Coach, the Panthers started out on fire. I mean, just really mowing through the non-district competition, and then started district off. Probably a dream start for you, just putting the hammer to Hardin Jefferson, and then 2 weeks in a row coming up against a couple of opponents that just
punched us in the face.
Well, I didn't want to say punched in the face, but definitely didn't want to show mom and dad except in the dark, right?
Well, I tell you, and we knew that's how it was going to be. I mean, our district's tough. You got West Orange, Silsbee, Orangefield. This is a year that they've kind of been waiting on a long time around their place, and then you got Hampshire-Finette that's loaded with talent. We did get a good start against Hardin Jefferson, but I think pretty much everybody's had a good start against those guys if they're on their schedule. So, our non-district schedule, it wasn't the most difficult of schedules. But now we're having to play some really tough teams, and they're just as big, if not bigger, and a lot stronger and a lot faster.
All right, Coach. I didn't write questions down for Ross this week, so I don't know what he's about to ask you.
Never know what we're going to get.
But I'm going to let Ross ask a couple of questions. Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Coach, just getting through an interesting week. You had the week off, and now you had TVE this week. How did you handle things as far as the TVE and kids being out of school?
Well, let me go back to our week off, our bye week. We kind of scaled it back down. We only actually practiced football 2 days that week. We did some film. We did a lot of film work. We did a lot of some weightlifting. We're pretty banged up, but I felt like those 2 days were productive. We were able to introduce West Orange as much as we could, considering we didn't get video till that Wednesday. But the fair week is always an interesting week. It has been ever since I went to school here, and we haven't always fared too well, during that week just because of all the outside activities going on. But, we had 2 good practices on Monday and Tuesday. We practiced early on Wednesday, big parade here in town. That's just always been an issue. And we tried to get it in before the parade, and then came back in on Thursday and had another practice, a little walk through it, and here we are.
That's where he was.
There it was. We stumped it. We stumped it over.
I was looking at my watch. I was thinking, how long is it going to take to get Ross today?
Yeah.
That's really the name of the game with him. I think that's why he keeps me around, because I do that to him quite often. All right, Coach. Talk about. I know you mentioned Fair Week. What are you specifically going to do on Fair Week? Are you going to take the family out to the fair, or are you going to show your face?
I can't afford the fair. Back when I was a kid, I used to live across the street out there in that neighborhood right across from us. I was able to walk over there, and it didn't cost but 50 cents to get in, and now they actually make you buy a rodeo ticket to get in the gate. So I'm pretty sure you won't see me at the fair much.
I don't know. Are they not? They're not Athletic Booster Club supporters. You don't get a ticket to get in for that.
I haven't ever got one since I've been here, so I'm not looking for one now.
I don't know if you're watching this. I think we need to make that happen. We need to sponsor the Chad Taylor box at the fairgrounds.
I'll tell you what, it's gotten expensive over the last few years. You can't even go to the Catholic booth and get a hamburger for less than $5. I used to come home from practice, and I'd ask my mom what's for dinner, and she'd give me $5 and say, go to the fairgrounds real quick and get you something to eat. But
Now, in fairness, they're raising some money for some good causes,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And I'm not mad at them at all. That's what they got to do, and more power to them. I hope everybody shows up.
So you've got some kids that are playing on the football team that are showing. Is that right?
Yeah, I got Seth Stearns and Dylan Davis. They both show heifers. I think Manny Freeman, I think shows a pig. So, it's always interesting to try to juggle practice schedules and this, that, and the other. But I understand the fact that these kids have been working with these animals for basically a calendar year up to this time, and it's important to them and their families. So more power to them. We're going to have practice regardless, and I'll be rooting for those kids to be successful.
What kind of dedicated athlete do you have to be to take on two huge things at the same time like that?
Oh, definitely. You gotta, you definitely have to, be dedicated to both. I mean, and those guys, I mean, they're having to get up there early in the morning and feed animals, and then, I mean, a lot of times you'll see them, they'll go straight from practice, get dressed, get in their truck, and drive out there and feed again. So, definitely it's time consuming. You've got to be able to manage your time well. And, I think both of those young men, or all three of those young men, have done a great job. So there's a lot of support from their families when it comes to this, especially this week, because I know this is kind of like the Super Bowl of the Liberty, FFA, 4-H clubs, and I know that they want to do well, and I'm pulling for them. I'm going to go out there and I went out there and watched them show on Tuesday, and that's kind of, that's just me showing them support for the other endeavors that they have as well.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, Coach. You're the athletic director, and so you kind of oversee everything athletic-wise in the district, not just at the high school, right?
Yes, sir.
What, in your opinion, what does it mean when the kids that you have planned for you that are in band or that are in choir or other things, what does it mean when they see you show up to those activities?
Well, I mean, I don't go there just for them to, come pat me on the back or anything. I mean, they're involved in other activities, and I want to show them support. They dedicate so much of their time and efforts to my cause, the football team, and therefore I want to go back and just show them my appreciation for all the hard work that they put in football, because I know that they have to put in just as much work. I got an offensive lineman that's a member of the band, and those guys had competition last weekend and did well, and I'm excited for those guys. You got these kids that are showing. I'm pulling for them. I want them to do well. I want their animals to sell, and I want them to reap the benefits of all the hard work that they put in regarding those animals. So it's a big time. It's always been a big thing in our community, and I mean, I'm going out there to support all the kids, not just the ones in Liberty. I know several of them from the neighboring communities that'll be showing, and that's what it's all about.
Ross, you did a piece on the district cross-country meet. Can you talk about that with Coach Taylor?
Coach, I saw you out at the district cross-country meet. Little different conditions than the Tony Munson Invitational a few weeks earlier. Two boys are headed to regionals. How does that help your athletic program?
Well, I mean, it definitely brings some attention to that sport. I think Coach Evans and Coach Roberts have done a great job of just getting more and more kids involved. A lot of times, I have to drop if not both my daughters, at least one of them off every morning for a 6 o'clock practice. So a lot of times I get ready for the day by sitting out in the parking lot and listening to some music, and I'm constantly seeing these young men and women run around the parking lot, and it's pitch black outside out there, having to run in the parking lot because of the lights. But anyway, I mean, those kids have showed a great amount of dedication to get up there that early, to do all that running. I mean, let's be honest, not something I probably would have done, but they're good at it. And I mean, I think Patrick and Renee have just been dedicated from day one, and they push each other, and And I mean, it's awesome to see that those guys get to go compete again in the regional competition. I assume it's back in Huntsville.
That's right.
Same location.
It'll be Monday.
And it'll be Monday, and guess who's going to go watch? I'm going to go watch. And it'll be about 15 minutes of running, and then I'll come on back to practice. So definitely excited for those guys. And Patrick and Renee have been, in the top of almost every meet that they've participated in, and I'm just excited for them.
Yeah, back-to-back individual district championships for Patrick Flowers. Headed to state last year. I know you're not a prognosticator, but how important would it be to have another state appearance, another great showing at regional?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Athletics just gives kids so many opportunities. This is an opportunity for Patrick, who obviously loves what he's doing and loves to run, and he's really good at it. And just him representing Liberty High School at the area meet, there's no doubt in my mind that he'll get out there and compete well and probably qualify for the state meet, which is a huge honor. So really excited for him, and I'm hoping that this year that Renee could get up there and give himself a chance. I think Renee's a senior, and I'd love to see, because I've watched Renee work. He spent a lot of time in our off season lifting weights, and he does a lot of running with Patrick, and I would just love to see him qualify as well and just make this senior year that much special for him.
Ross, the girls volleyball team just really lights out right now.
Another success story with the athletic program, and you had a new coach this year. Can you speak a little bit about how difficult it is for a new coach to come in with a group that was used to a different voice?
I mean, definitely it's always difficult to replace a coach like Coach Slack, who took over as our principal and gave up the reins of that volleyball program to Coach Anderson. But Coach Anderson is no stranger to Liberty High School. She was once Coach Slack's assistant volleyball coach, so she's familiar with our school district. She's familiar with a lot of these kids. A lot of these kids were junior high kids whenever she was an assistant here. And the job that she's done and just coming in and just really just kind of just building off of what Coach Slack and those young ladies did last year is remarkable. I have no idea what their overall record is. I know district-wise it's 7-3. We got 2 games left. We had 2 games left. But we're going to get in the playoffs. Who we play, what seed we are is still up in the air. I'm just looking forward to watching those girls compete. My daughter's in that program, and I have to stick around and watch a lot of it. And, I mean, it's been really exciting. I mean, we had a real good match against Huffman a week ago. We took Huffman to five games, which is the first time, we've done that in a long time. Probably anybody in our district has probably never taken them to 5 games. So our girls play well. We got a lot of young girls on that team. A couple seniors, Kylie Bishop, Emily Villarreal, come to mind that play a big role in our team's success. And okay, Mr. Ewing. Yeah, we'll talk about the student section. I mean, we're hit or miss. We did really well against Livingston and kind of got caught out on that. And then, when you're playing Huffman and you're getting really loud and they yell 28-0, you kind of be quiet a little bit. So we kind of piped it down just a little bit. I mean, can't even have fun these days. But our guys have been showing up. We encourage that. We encourage them to really cheer for our team, not so much against the other team, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just young men and women representing our school and our community, and we want to do so in a respectful manner. And I think those guys have really added a little bit of energy to the young ladies, and we're going to continue to do that as long as they play. We're going to be there supporting them.
All right, Coach, just going to wrap this up real quick. With respect to what's going on right now at halftime, I don't know where we are. I know you've got some thoughts in your head, but Who are some people that you're prepping for this week?
Well, I mean, on offense, you've got to look at a guy named Elijah Gales. He's been a thorn in our side for seems like forever, but he's a senior.
That guy hasn't graduated yet.
No, I mean, I can think of a bunch of plays he's made over the last few years, but he's an outstanding football player. They'll use him a lot in the Wildcat, and they've kind of had some quarterback issues throughout the season. Right now, I think they're on about their third quarterback, and I think he may even be a freshman. The one you want to kind of keep your eyes on is number 59, Demetrius Hunter. He's actually an OU commit, so he's kind of the real deal. And my boy Kobe's going to be going up against him, and I think he's going to have a little something for Demetrius. And then the last one I would kind of keep an eye on, defensively speaking, is number 44, Carmelo Jones. And, I mean, he's just, lightning in a bottle, man. He's just quick as a cat. And I mean, we're having to almost have two guys block him at all times, or he'll just disrupt it either from the front side or the back side. So we got our hands full. They are who they are. And, it seems like every time they graduate a class, here comes another one. I mean, it's must be nice.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Coach, thank you for joining us for the halftime show. You've been watching the halftime show, West Orange Stark. Second half kickoff coming up right after this. Welcome back, Panther Nation. Liberty Panther Sports Network. Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, producer Richard Ewing, statman Neil Thornton. Just about 2 minutes left in halftime. Your Liberty Panthers trailing 38-0 and looking to receive the second half kickoff coming out of the break. The second quarter was a flurry of scoring activity for the Mustangs, and it seemed to go on interminably as mistakes, miscues, penalties, and other things reared their ugly head for the Panthers. Ross?
An unfortunate second quarter. The second quarter was not good. The first quarter, they were able to control the ball, Liberty was, and I believe they scored one touchdown, West Orange Stark did, and they kept that clock going, that patented running the clock. In the second half, West Orange was able to control the ball.
Second quarter,
yeah.
Second quarter, they were able to control the ball. Another mistake by me. And you saw what the results were. So it's going to be very important for Liberty to come back out at halftime after getting a little bit of a break. I'm sure there are going to be some adjustments that were made, and their goal has to be control that football and the clock.
One of the goals that they are going to have, I'm sure, is to get out of here without injury. As, again, we've mentioned this was not a game that was a must-win for them. Next week, however, will be a must-win game for the Panthers. Back at home at War Memorial Stadium, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Hosting Bridge City on senior night. We'll be there about 7:15, going live on panthersports.com. That's sports with a Z.
After my performance this week, I may be relegated to the track.
I'm going to send you to the Netherland, the hinterlands. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I'll be chiming in from the roof at LES.
Well, the Mustangs back on the field, and the Panthers coming onto the field now. Under 30 seconds to go here in halftime. And Panthers looking charged up, getting ready to receive the second half kickoff, trying to do anything to break up the no-no and get some positive momentum heading into next week.
Speaking of, Luis Garcia carried a no-hitter into the sixth inning before giving up a hit.
Yeah, Garcia and Valdez both struggled mightily in their first starts in the ALCS, and consequently, the Astros starting pitchers barely making out of the second inning.
Garcia had a knee issue that had been bothering him, and it really cropped up, and you could tell from the beginning of that game that knee was bothering him, and he did not want to come out of that ball game, but Brent Strom, Jeremiah Randall, the athletic trainer, and, of course, Dusty Baker, the manager, made the decision that, yes, you're going to come out. There's no sense in trying to aggravate an injury. Let's get you some rest, get off of it. They did, and he is, to this point, pitched well, middle of the 6th inning. Still 1-0.
I've got to agree with you about Brent Strom. Brent Strom, one of the best pitching coaches I believe I ever saw.
He's my neighbor.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I don't always agree with their hitting coach, the way that they approach game by game. It's different each game, and I don't like that. But their pitching coach, they like you said, he saves him. And also, I'm sure that they did a lot of studying on those first 2 games when Boston got on them so hard, or those second and third game when Boston got on so hard. And have made some adjustments. They're throwing the same pitches, but they're not throwing them in the same order.
I know exactly. I know what the adjustment was. They were tipping their pitches.
I was wondering about that.
They were tipping their pitches, and that was one of the reasons that they were having so much success. Boston, a great offensive team,
and
but
there's
even
nothing
better.
wrong with there's nothing wrong with picking that up.
No.
Don't let anybody think you're talking about their cheating.
No, they were not. Brent actually made a point of saying that it's perfectly legal.
Yeah,
and
part of the game.
that teams will and should benefit if their pitchers are tipping.
Valtierra fielding the ball cleanly, still on his feet, trying to get something going and going to get pulled down, and they're going to give him forward momentum to the 26-yard line. Third quarter underway, Panthers on offense, and actually pushing him back to the 21, not the 20, that's the 26, 21-yard line.
It's always funny to see Brent and his wife Carrie have 3 French bulldogs, and when he's on the road, she tries to wrangle all 3 of them.
Oh, you know what? I was wrong again for the 3rd time. They're going to be on the 25-yard line.
Well, they've
They've
put
moved
it down
that ball
on the
around.
26 the first time.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't like the spot.
I didn't like the spot. I like it moving forward.
Yeah, I don't like them moving it back.
1st and 10 for the Panthers. Third quarter, 11:52 in this young quarter, second half. Be back in that tight pistol. Nolan handing the ball off to Curtis, right-hand side, following blockers. Going to pick up, I'm going to call that 4 yards. 2nd down and 6. Ball on the Panther 28-yard line. Far hash mark. Panthers trying to get back to the thing that made them so successful in non-district play, the ability to control the clock, cut down on mistakes, and execute the game plan efficiently.
Yeah, when you're playing a team that's as good a athletes, as good a set of athletes, and have been playing together as long as these kids have, you got to go mistake-free.
2nd down and 7 or 6. Nolan again, hand the ball off to Curtis, and he's going to get met in the backfield this time.
No gain this time, I don't think.
No.
Maybe going back.
They're going to lose a yard or 2 on this.
Carmelo Jones.
3rd down and 7.
Had to stop there.
Again, around the horn. Valley players going to be doing Screen Queens this coming week, going into Halloween weekend. Halloween on Sunday, Ross. Not this coming Sunday, but the following. How you plan to celebrate your candy day? You going to hand out candy in downtown Houston?
No. I did that one year in my building, an old building, and that was an interesting thing. No kids.
Well,
Gonna have a flag. Gonna have a
helmet rolling on the ground.
Helmet coming off. There was also a hit that was out on the
little option play right
sideline.
there. Nolan was able to pitch that ball to Curtis and not able to get too far. In fact, he may have lost a yard on that. Still awaiting the flag. Or the
Flag
penalty.
came in late.
Well, they're looking in the direction of Liberty.
I'm almost
There may
certain
be a
it's going to be
hold
a
out there.
holding call
Yeah.
as they're talking to the sideline. And it will be declined.
And they are indeed going to decline that, and that's going to bring up a punting situation. Shump back on to punt. So far, it's been a mixed bag for the Panthers special teams tonight.
The punting team's been so good for the last 2 or 3 games, and they just really kind of fallen apart tonight. That's better.
Finally able to get something away.
That's
it's going to
better.
hit and take a Panther bounce.
He touched that ball. He touched it, I think.
Well,
Evidently he didn't. Everybody down in the stands hollering he touched it.
I don't know if he
That's a
touched
nice
it, but
punt,
that
though.
was
that
pretty
was-
silly.
Okay, so
From the
here's
26 to the 26.
Here's something that I find interesting. On the punt returns for West Orange, they've had a fumble, and even on the kicks, there have been some interesting decisions on handling the ball, and I'm not sure that ball got behind him and why he kept trying to pick it up.
Well, when you're looking at the scoreboard, a lot of times that gives you a false sense of what you can accomplish versus the reality of what you can accomplish.
Want to give a score update through 6 innings. Houston leads 2-0.
That was a 48-yard punt net.
That is what we have become accustomed to for Jaden Shemp.
Over the left-hand side, going to get tripped up.
Colby Ewing.
Number 4, Elijah Gale. I keep on saying Gale. It's actually Elijah Gales.
Yeah,
with
he's
an S.
going, I think we'll see a steady diet of Gales. He's going for, well, I guess he's got a couple of more games after this.
He's
But
going for a record, as the all-time leading rusher. He's got 77 yards on 15 carries so far.
which is, when you think about it, that's quite an accomplishment with this team.
Going to be underneath to Gales again. Left-hand side, finding some green grass. And still on his feet, finally pushed out of bounds in close to Panther territory.
They're going to spot this, it looks like, on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, right on the 50. Green grass, nope, because we're playing on turf, Ross, so it's green turf.
Green turf.
Green turf. I'm gonna keep calling it grass, though.
Two-tone green turf. 23 yards on the pickup. That takes him to 100 yards on the night.
So he's, what do you say, he needed 100?
Well, I thought it was
101?
130,
Oh.
and his dad came up here a while ago and said it was 143. So.
Okay. Well,
That's going to be something interesting to keep up with because that's a huge accomplishment for the young man if he can get it.
Just got 6
and
more.
another 6-yard carry. That's going to be 2nd down and 4. Now officially in Panther territory, down to the Panther, what do you call that? The 44-yard line, far hash mark. Under 9 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Mustangs leading 38-0. Robinson with a max protect backfield. Doubles to his right, single receiver to the short side of the field. Going to hand the ball off. And still on his feet, finally getting pulled down. Elijah Gales going to have enough for the first down.
Yeah, let's see.
They tried and missed. They tried a cut block against Quentin Johnston, and he was able to evade it and keep the pursuit, which made him change course.
Well, Mr. Gales will definitely get the record if they score on this drive, and he's the only one that carries the ball.
Well, he's already scored 3 touchdowns the first half. I don't know how he is touchdown-wise in the record books.
And he's in motion this time, not going to take the ball. Over the right-hand side, that's going to be wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown. Number, is that 5?
Is that 10?
That was Jalen Brown, number 15.
15. And that's about as easy as it's going to get for you, Ross.
Wide receiver Darren Anderson had a phenomenal block that opened that up for Brown.
At the 8:02 mark in the third quarter, Mustangs strike first in the second half. 44, Panthers 0, on for the extra point. Snap is good, holds good. The kick is up, and it is through the uprights. 8:02, Mustangs 45, Liberty 0. Back to the drawing board again for the Panthers offensively.
It's tough when you are down by this amount, and you just have to, and the coaching staff right now is going to be talking to them about, we got to keep our intensity up. We can't, it's easy to kind of want to dial it down a little bit, the intensity, but I think they'll be able to do that and just pound the football.
Well, Liberty has actually shut out in the first game against Huffman, and have not been shut out and had some very, very productive games. High expectations coming out of non-district. They were sitting at 3-1 on the year, and then had that massive victory against Hardin Jefferson, and the expectations in some eyes probably went even higher. Realistically, though, looking at what the Hawks have been this year, that was they've not been very good.
Curtis is going to field this ball.
And breaking over the outside, still on his feet. And the senior Jolin Curtis, North Shore as they call him, returns the ball up to the Panther 45-yard line.
35-yard return.
We're going to have
another nice spark, but there is a flag
at about the
on the 40-yard
line.
Maybe a block in the back.
No,
nope.
It is going to go against West Orange. Stark. I keep forgetting the Stark part, Neil.
You don't need to remember that. Let's see. What did they call it?
I did not see.
Well, they called it on the end of the run. I don't know what he called. I couldn't tell. But that's going to put the ball into Mustang territory.
Must have been defensive holding because he just went 5.
Oh, no, that's going to put it right on the 50. So the best starting field position for the Panthers tonight. And they're going to be in that spread formation. Trips to the right of Caden Nolan. Single receiver to the short side. Dropping back and throw it up to Fontenot for a jump ball. And he's going to pick up. Nice catch.
And a good spiral.
Well, that's another one like that. He really bumped off a little. Looked like basketball. He bumped off a little, made himself open, went straight to the ball.
Fontenot coming down with the big reception. The ball's going to get moved down to the 20-yard line. Liberty Panthers with some passing life here. 1st and 10. 7:37 and counting here in the third quarter. Panthers desperately trying to break up the donut.
Yeah, that
puts him at 103 yards on 3 catches for the night.
Fontenot having a very good night.
We haven't seen that out of a Liberty team in 15 years.
And these have not been easy catches.
No, they've been in traffic.
Curtis up the middle, finds a break, and finally the Liberty Panthers on the board at the 7:14 mark. Jolin Curtis scratches his way through the pile, almost stumbles over the 5-yard line, and then works his way into the end zone at the 7:14 mark. The Mustangs 45, your Liberty Panthers 6, and now Brian Montez on for the extra point. Ross?
Victor Ruiz and Juan Sanchez with huge blocks there.
Mason Goodo for the hold. Snap's good, hold is good, and the ball is through the upright. 7:14 mark. Your Liberty Panthers finally finding pay dirt, but most importantly, turning that round number into a crooked number, Ross.
Right.
And it started with that Curtis
return.
Absolutely.
The Curtis return and some great blocking on that return, on the return team. Let me see if I can throw return in there 5 more times, return.
Well, that's as good for morale as anything when you're getting taken to the woodshed, so to speak, as they are right now. Whatever you can find and hang your hat on heading into the break is what you need to do.
And Chad takes them into the dressing room. He gives them a talk, tells them what they need to do. They come out and do it, and it's successful. And no matter the outcome of the game, when they do that and they've been successful listening to the coach and doing what he says, it's a teaching situation. And they're learning about the game, and that's great. They'll need that.
It says a lot about the coaching staff that they can do those adjustments and led by Chad Taylor.
Montez
Nice
deep
kick.
And that's going to be fielded at about the 5-yard line. Going to take the return man almost into the end zone. Still on his feet, back up the middle to the outside. Green turf in front, and he has nothing but open in front of him, and that's going to be a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
No flags.
Well, he fielded it at the 5, so it's a 95.
It's 95.
Again, kind of an interesting thing there, as you saw on your screen. He had to basically turn around and field that, and momentum took him to the 1-yard line. It worked out.
6:58 to go here in the third quarter, and the Mustangs striking back immediately, 51-7, on for the extra point. And that just showcases the kind of talent that they have, the amount of speed, and all the other intangibles that they're working with. And that extra point is good. 6:58 to go here in the third quarter. West Orange Stark 52, your Liberty Panthers 7. And the Panthers get to go back on offense again, and the Panther defense getting a little bit of a break, which they really needed.
Well, it's going to be a big break because they had halftime.
Well, you don't tell truth to me, right? That's rude, Ross.
And then
that was a monster break. You're correct.
They actually have not played.
They haven't played in some
in
time.
The second half. And I think when they do play, you're going to see them amped up.
That would be for sure. Now, let's see if the Panthers can build off the great momentum that they had from that last drive. Fontenot, the receiver, with a huge catch. Jolin Curtis with a huge return, and then a huge rush over the left-hand side to score. Panthers back deep. Valtierra, Jolin Curtis. And Valtierra has actually had a pretty good return night himself. He's had a couple of 20-yard returns. Yep. Curtis has had a big return. Again, they're just a whisper here and there, just a few mistakes really hurting them.
Yeah, that was a great kickoff, but he outkicked his coverage, actually.
It's going to be high, going to be fielded by Valtierra. Going to follow Curtis over the left-hand side, and he's going to get rattled at the 25-yard line.
10-yard return.
The blocker not quite able to pick that up, and Valtierra, to his credit, gets up the way Sweetness, Walter Payton, used to get up after he got rattled. I think one of the things that they used to say about that is he never wanted to show the other team that he was hurt or scared, and so even if he got rocked, he would just pop back up to make the other team angry.
Doesn't make any difference how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up.
Dustin Helm delivered the big knock.
Panther offense probably going to come back out in that spread look. They were successful the last drive. We'll see. Fontenot on the short side. Going to be by himself in single coverage. Trips to the right of Nolan. And he's going to go and pitch that ball out to Curtis. And he's going to get pulled down by the neck. And actually, he didn't get pulled down, but had he been pulled down, there may have been a flag on that.
Yeah, he had a pretty good hold around his neck. Almost as if you were going to come up from behind somebody.
I think, is that a flag or is that a towel on the ground there?
It looks like a towel. I did not see a flag, but
it'll be a loss of about 2 yards on the play. Can bring up second down and 12. 6:46 to go here in the third quarter.
It did appear like, he had come up from behind him and put that arm around his neck.
Nolan in the shotgun, trips to his right, rolling to his right, and going to fire. And that may have been an interception over there on the sideline.
Yes, it is. He did have possession of it before stepping out of bounds.
And the Panthers turning the ball over on the interception. And finally going to get a look at that Panther defense in the second half.
Neil, turnover-wise, where are they?
Okay, so Liberty has, if you want to call it safety, a turnover, I don't know. That's one interception. 2, 3 turnovers, a fumble and 2 interceptions, and then, of course, the safety, the high snap that went into the end zone.
Robinson, the quarterback, in the shotgun, twins to his left and right. Going to hand the ball to Gales up the middle, still on his feet, and looking for first down yardage, and going to be close to that. Looks like they're going to give it to him. Nope. Going to be about a yard short there.
Austin Walker making contact with Gales, but Gales spinning off of him to get some more yardage.
Second down and short from the Panther, going to call that the 23.5-yard line. Far hash mark. Again, the Mustangs coming out in the spread formation, doubles to the left and right of Robinson, the quarterback. Man in motion from the short side, and they're going to take that jet handoff and going to get pulled down in the backfield by a host of Panthers,
They
led by number 14. Is that Josh Payne? Yep,
Yes.
number 14, Josh Payne for the Panther defense, a name that we haven't called too much. I suspect that Coach Taylor is going to be running in a number of young men that don't normally play a bunch.
Well, he played that one well. He didn't let anybody get outside of him.
Yeah, he did. And that's not to say Payne doesn't play a bunch. We just don't call his name
All
too
you
often.
got to do on that outside is make him stutter step, and everybody will catch him.
Luis Moreno checking into the game for Titus Bell.
Going to be a low
Last
snap. And fielded and able to get the pass away for a short reception.
Number 22.
And that's going to be enough for the first down. And that's going to move the ball down to the Panther 19-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs.
Made the reception, got nothing afterwards because Josh Payne was there, delivered the hit, and took him down.
Just about 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Panthers trailing 52-7. Trips to the left of Robinson. Single receiver to his short right side. Going to hand the ball off to, it's a new running back. Haven't seen this young man yet.
See if you can pick a number.
Number
out there,
21 for the Mustangs.
Dustin Helm.
Dustin Helm.
He is a sophomore.
That's his first carry on the evening.
Isaac Chavez coming off the field. Did not see who came in for him.
And Mustang setting back up in the same formation. Trips to the wide side of the field. Single receiver to the short right side. And going to be a counter action right there. And Helm again carrying the ball. Not very big in stature, but pretty fast on his feet. And scrambles forward for a big chunk.
Have a flag in the backfield, Joe.
Yeah. Let's see what the chain gang has already moved, which I'm not sure why they've moved. Well, that's going to move the ball further toward the goal line. And that's going to drop the chains now. 1st and goal from the Panther. Let's see where they're spotting this. From the Panther 3-yard line. And again, same formation. And Helm carrying the ball. And we're still waiting for the signal. And there it is. It's going to be touchdown for the Mustangs at the 3:54 mark in the third quarter. Mustangs score again on the ground, and now it's going to be 58-7, awaiting the extra point attempt here. I'm sure that young man pretty excited about getting the action that he's getting right now.
I think I heard the field announcer say that
Austin Walker almost getting a piece of
that. And that kick
I
is
think I heard
going
the
to be
field
good.
announcer say that Gale had gone over and I don't have that many numbers. I've got 120 yards for him, which is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but it's.
And a correction, that was Chris Jones, the quarterback, running that series of plays, and not Robinson, who's been the quarterback for most of the game. So West Orange Stark Mustangs making some changes offensively, putting in some of their second-string guys.
Want to give you a score update. The Astros were in a precarious situation. I've used that word too much tonight. The Red Sox had runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Kendall Graveman pitching, and they were able to get a double play, and they move to the middle of the 7th inning stretch time, leading 2-0.
A little early for Graveman, right? Or no, is he their late middle guy?
Yeah. They're going to have him come in, and he has not worked in a couple of days, so I would imagine he's probably going to go 2 innings.
And then we'll probably see Presley in the 9th.
I would think so.
If the score is still pretty close.
And I think, again, what happens in the top of the 8th inning probably has a lot to do with whether Presley will be there.
And that's going to be a low squibber. Going to be fielded by Valtierra. Coming back to his left, looking for some running room, and going to get pulled down at the 30-yard line. 3:47 to go here in the third quarter.
I want to mention on that return, Jolin Curtis did something that showed a lot of maturity and self-restraint, as he was one of the blockers. He got in a situation, and it would have been very easy with the momentum being what it was for him to commit a block in the back, and he was able to pull off of that.
He did. I saw that.
Very good job by Curtis there.
You are watching the Liberty Panther Sports Network on Panthersports.com.
He does a lot of things naturally that you don't have a hard time coaching. Changing the ball to the outside hand, he does it.
And that
all
is
the time.
a huge gain for the Panthers in a way, because they didn't get pushed back.
And Curtis with the ball. And going to get dropped in the backfield for a loss of a couple. We're up second down and long for the Panthers.
And Dontre McClain is the one that got Curtis.
We've called his name a number of times.
On both sides of the ball.
West Orange Stark in firm control of first place in District 11 4A. Undefeated so far in district play.
Yeah, Orangefield for 3 quarters was within 7 points last week.
Nolan in the pistol formation, going to roll out to his right, and finding nothing, having to throw the ball away. Double coverage on Cade Jordan, the tight end, not able to get any separation, and that's going to stop the clock and bring up third down and 11. 2:57 to go here in the third quarter. Your Panthers trailing 59-7, finally getting on the board in this third quarter, breaking up that 0. Again, big shout out to everyone who's watching and listening. Don't forget to tune in this coming week on Wednesday, LHSlive.net. Going to be 9:30 a.m. And hopefully we're going to have one of our ag teachers, Mr. Purswell, on to talk about TVE this week.
Ooh.
Handoff to Jolin Curtis, getting met at the mesh point in the backfield. It's going to be another loss on the play. Going to keep the clock moving. Again, Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. LHSlive.net is where you can find that.
Carmelo Jones coming through unabated.
And we will be live next Friday at War Memorial Stadium for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff as your Panthers hosting Bridge City on senior night. We'll be live at about 7:15 p.m.
Should be a fantastic atmosphere.
Oh.
And that
Terrible.
punt didn't go very far, Ross.
No, he dropped it, and he couldn't get his foot extended, and so it just went straight up.
Yeah, the Panthers have been under duress for most of the game, and that was no exception. And the Mustangs having a very favorable starting position, going to be starting on the Panther 32-yard line.
You don't ever really want to give them the ball at all, and definitely not on a short field.
No doubt about that. All right, I know, Neil Thornton, you live in Featherstone, so I know you're going to be handing out candy on Halloween, isn't it?
I'll be at the play Halloween night.
Oh, okay, there he is. He's trying to get out of handing out candy.
Yep.
Oh, and the option play with the QB keeping it. That's number 14, Chris Jones, and he gets met by
Caleb Chandler.
Bevy of Panthers, led by Caleb Chandler. That was a hard lick right there.
He laid some wood there.
We're seeing this quite a bit, Ross. We're seeing a lot of just glimpses, little whispers of great things, and the Panthers are going to figure out how to put all that together, as next week is going to be a must-win game for the Panthers if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Feeling a turnover here, Joe.
Jones, the quarterback, in the shotgun formation, trips to his right. That's a low snap, and forced to pick that up and run with it, and going to get met.
Careful there, 24.
Pretty quickly, and that is Manny Freeman coming up to make the initial stop and going to come up just a little bit short.
And Chris Jones, very dangerous, got the low snap, took off with it, and that ball was very far from his side out there. swinging around.
Number 14 on our side. Who is that?
Josh
Payne.
And he almost tried to spear him.
It's 3rd and short for the Mustangs. Trips to the left. And going to be pulled down.
William Waldrop.
Be a nice play there. Jones did a really great job of riding the running back. Unfortunately for them, nothing ever opened up, and the Panthers strung that out. Nice defensive play. Going to lose about a yard on that. Going to bring up 4th and 3. Mustangs on the Panther 25-yard line. And they may just let this clock go, although, no, they're going to try to get it going.
Yeah, this is that territory.
Oh, no, they couldn't let it go because of the play clock.
This is that territory where you do go for it.
Going to roll to his right. And big collision.
Josh Payne.
At the about 21-yard line. And that's going to be enough probably for the first down. That was a very large collision.
They are moving the chains.
And that's going to do it for the 3rd quarter. Heading into the 4th quarter, your Liberty Panthers 7, the Mustangs of West Orange Stark 15-9. And that was a little slower, that 3rd quarter, Ross. More points scored, and we've seen some glimpses.
Yeah, you had the opening drive for Liberty, which was perfect. A great return, then the pass and catch from Caden Nolan to Gavin Fontenot, and Gavin Fontenot showing skills again, making a very difficult catch.
I want to go ahead and make out another shout out to our sponsors for this year so far. The Liberty ISD Education Foundation, the Firm Foundations Health Clinic, and Emily Cook, attorney at law. Thank you for that. Anytime the sponsors are available, they help us put on these sorts of broadcasts. They help us buy equipment. They help us get stuff in the hands of the students of LISD and help to build skills that can transition into either the college or the workplace. So thank you to our sponsors again. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Panther 21-yard line. Jones gonna gonna keep the ball himself and gonna get pulled down by number 16.
Landon Curry with the tackle.
Landon Curry. These are the moments right here are for the fringe players of the world to kind of make a name for themselves. Not that he's a fringe player, but definitely he's
youngsters.
He's standing out to me in all the right sorts of ways. And it started, Neil, you mentioned it started back in that Hardin-Jefferson game when he opportunistically, made a great play, jumped on the miscue by the Hawks, and scored a touchdown.
Well, it's amazing what that'll do to a kid's confidence.
Man in motion, jet action, going to hand the ball off right-hand side. And still on his feet. Finally getting pulled down by the junior, the nose tackle, Colby Ewing. Man, he plays that spot in the middle, but he's almost like a linebacker on the line of scrimmage. He is all over the place. And you'd think somebody right in the middle of the action wouldn't be able to get outside and make plays, but he's done it consistently all year.
He has so much energy throughout the game, and this isn't exactly the most wonderful weather conditions.
Astros are still up.
The Astros are still up. Altuve, the inning is over. It's on to the 8th inning with the Astros leading the Red Sox 2-0.
It's going to be a QB keeper, and this time Jones on his feet to the outside, and looks like he's going to pick up enough for the first down, depending on where they spot. It's going to be close.
Mason Goodo with the stop.
And they're going to, are they going to give him the first down? Or are they going to measure?
Yes.
Yep. They're going to go ahead and give him the first down, and it's going to be just shy of the 10, so 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line.
Has to get to the 1 for a first down.
Spread formation. Jones again in the back, doubles to his left and right. Going to hand the ball off to the running back, who cuts back to his left, still on his feet, and finally getting pulled out of bounds by number 9, Mason Goodo.
Got one down over here.
And we got a Mustang on the turf. One of their linemen helped back to his feet. The second down and about 2 for the first down. They can get a first down without scoring.
Who was that running back? Was that the quarterback again?
No, that was
Number 20?
Isaiah Thomas, 23.
23. We'll run out of spaces down here.
Jones in the shotgun formation trips to his right. And going to hand the ball off to Isaiah Thomas again. And up the middle and going to punch it in at the 9:15 mark. The touchdown Mustangs. And the rich get richer.
Yeah,
65-7.
Had a really good hole there, and then was able to keep moving his feet as he had to go over some Panthers.
Awaiting the extra point. Presumably they'll score this. And that's going to be through the uprights. At the 9:15 mark, West Orange Stark with a short touchdown run. And going to have 65 to your Liberty Panthers 7.
Two Panthers collided trying to block that kick.
I'm not going to lie to you, Ross.
66, should be 66. Yeah, there it is.
This may be the. Is this the most lopsided we've seen a score
That you and I have,
that
yes.
we've done? Yes.
I don't think I've seen one. I've been here, a long time.
There was the year, I guess it was 2 years ago, where I'd gotten pulled off the Liberty game to go do the Barbers Hill-Dayton game, and that was the West Orange Shark game with Liberty at home. And I don't recall what that score was.
It was close until the fourth quarter.
But it wasn't. I don't think it was this far out.
No.
What year was that? I can find that out later. I don't want to open it up right
19.
Now, I say all that to say this. You know, some of it is because of the miscues that the Panthers made early, but a lot of it is because this West Orange Stark team is special.
Well,
and they are loaded.
You got to realize these kids been playing football together. They've got a great youth program down here. And they've been playing football. These same guys have been playing football together since they were 10 years old. So they know every move that each one is going to make. They've been running this offense. The youth program is kind of directed, I guess you'd say, by the coaching staff, by West Orange Stark coaching staff. So it's like the minor leagues. These kids have been playing this ball since they were 10.
And watched the JV last night in Liberty. They came to Liberty to play.
The low liner squibbing across the ground, going to get past Curtis and going to go into the end zone where the Panthers are going to let that die. They will come out to their own 25-yard line to start their latest offensive possession.
Now, see, I would have thought he touched that, but he didn't.
He did not. That was I was not sure, Neil, because he had his hands down there and it went through his hands.
Looked like he missed a ground ball, exactly.
We hand off to Curtis up the middle. And finally the whistle sounds. Going to pick up about 1 yard on that. Second down and 9 from the Panther 26-yard line. Under 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Liberty Panthers trailing 66-7. You're watching the Liberty Panthers Sports Network. Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, Neil Thornton on stats, producer Richard Ewing. Again, thank all of our sponsors, all of our viewers. All of this is made possible by, in part, by a wonderful grant from the LISD Education Foundation, and then from there, hopes and dreams.
This program really started off that Education Foundation grant Bruce Wright got so many years ago. And then you and Richard Ewing came in and really beefed it up, and it's
going to have a delay of game against the Panthers. It's going to push the ball back 5. Going to redo second down. Again, all of our sponsors and supporters make it possible for broadcasts like these. And Curtis spun out of the tackle and then met again And feeling a little undone at the end there.
Yeah, he was grabbed by a West Orange player. It wasn't that he was grabbed. He was kind of
held on to.
He was tossed into the West Orange player.
Yep. Jolin Curtis, a very even-keeled young man. He doesn't get hot too often.
He was tossed, and he hit him from his back, so he could not see what actually happened. The guy was standing there.
We have 3rd down and long for the Panthers.
About 17, 16.
Nolan in that pistol
16.
look. And going to keep the ball on the option and going to get met at about the 27-yard line. Nice decision to keep that ball. We're up 4th and probably 8. The ball on the Panther 27-yard line.
And we are going to have a new punter come out.
Going to send out Montez to punt. He's been handling the kickoff and the extra point duties. Going to run him out there to see what he can do on the punting side.
I think maybe Jalen's got the yips a little bit after that last one.
You know, sometimes it's just not your day.
Yeah. I mean, he got off a couple of really good ones tonight. One especially, 48 yards.
Okay, low snap.
Yeah, they're going to say he touched the ground with his knee when he fielded that. And so that's going to be much ado about nothing. And instead of being able to get the punt away, they're going to call him down by contact. And once again, the Mustangs having prime real estate to work with for their opening stanza of this drive.
So they lost 11 yards on that, basically, is what that amounted to. 11 yards and over on downs, and they give them the ball back.
West Orange coming back out there. Jones, the quarterback. Looking
10-yard line, 11-yard line.
Doubles on his left and right.
That is actually Foster at quarterback.
Oh, yep.
That's Helms again.
And Helms, yeah, kind of hard to see those numbers, but you were 100% correct.
Caleb Chandler with the tackle there.
What's his number?
Terrius Foster, number 18, the quarterback. Going to hand it off to Helms, and he's 21, Dustin Helm. Great, 2nd down and 5 on the Panther 11-yard line. 6 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. And the Mustangs knocking on the door again, looking to break the 70-point mark. To be quite honest, I didn't think I would ever say that phrase in a football game. Helm going to take the ball up the right-hand side. Going to push forward for a few yards on the carry. We have 3rd down and 2.
Ashton Fisher was in on that stop.
Mustangs not in a super big hurry to get this play going. Content to let the clock run just a little bit as they have visibly pulled the throttle back.
It makes me feel a little better. They did wait till the clock got under 5 to snap there a while ago.
And going to give it to Helm again, right-hand side. He's going to escape the tackler and step in, and that's going to be another touchdown for the Mustangs at the 4:53 mark. Mustangs 72, Panthers 7.
That's 2 touchdowns for that young man tonight.
Yeah, Helms coming over the right-hand side, escaped some initial contact at the 5-yard line, and then was able to step in. And now awaiting the extra point. Snap's good, the hold's good, and the kick is through. Again at 4:53, West Orange Stark 73, your Liberty Panthers 7. I'm trying to say it slow, Ross.
Make the clock run, it won't work.
Shoeless Joe, say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so. Just under 5 minutes to go here in this contest, and I'm sure multiple parties cannot wait for these 4.5 or 4:50 to tick off fast enough.
Yeah, this is that point in the game where 4:53, no matter how fast the clock is going, feels like an eternity.
In a junior high game, they do a running clock here.
The beauty of something like this, Ross, is a lot of times a loss like this can put a bad enough taste in your mouth that you never want that to happen again, and then you come up fired up on the following week. Now the trick is going to be, can the Panthers rebound and have a great week of practice for a must-win contest next Friday night?
I believe they will be able to do that, and it will be a full week of practice and school without the distractions of the TVE.
Has he got the ball? I can't see it very well. Is the ball kind of flat on the?
Yes. He kicked it directly off the ground.
The Titus.
Titus Bell's going to pick that ball up and still on his feet, and finally getting pulled down at about the 40-yard line.
By
another
Darian
low
Jones.
squibber.
Darian Jones, sorry, Joe, I stepped all over you. Your feet are going to be hurting. I've stepped on you so much tonight.
You know, one of the cool things that we've been doing this year, Ross, I want to mention that, we will be carrying playoff coverage of the Lady Panthers as they had a huge win on Tuesday night. Senior night, they were able to beat Splendora in 3 sets.
Yeah, it was a dominating win.
Yeah, very much so.
And what is interesting is, and I say dominating, the first 2 sets, it was back and forth.
And I think they solided up the number 2 spot with that victory.
We got some new hands in for Liberty too.
Valtierra taking the handoff. Going to get pulled down behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a loss on the play of about 3. Bring up second down and long. 4:32 to go here in the fourth quarter. Watching the Liberty Panthers Sports Network. Going back to the volleyball. The Lady Panthers, phenomenal season this year. 30. Oh, well, no. I don't know how they did tonight. We need to get should ask it for an update on that one. I don't know if we have one. But they were playing the last district ball game tonight, and they were playing Hampshire Finette. Does that sound right?
I believe that was Hampshire Finette tonight.
At any rate, wrapping up district play tonight and then heading to the playoffs. It's going to be a quick toss for the Panthers.
Looked like Jolyn Curtis with the...
May have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage on that carry, and that's indeed who it was, number 3, Jolyn Curtis. Lady Panthers, I think they're going to be starting playoffs next week. Does that also sound right?
I think it is next week. The date of that, I don't know. My initial guess would be Tuesday, since all district play will wrap up tonight, or has wrapped up tonight, presumably.
All right, Panthers trying to ride this one out here and just going to keep handing the ball. Nope, going to roll.
Throw it.
And forced to get rid of that. And that will not be intentional grounding. It was outside the tackle box there. An update from producer Richard Ewing. Ross?
Astros are now 3 outs away from
a third pennant.
From a third pennant as Ryan Stanek strikes out the batter to end the 8th inning, into the bottom of the 8th inning. He was very excited, our producer Richard Ewing tells us.
Stanek can bring it.
Yeah,
I mean, that ball is live when he throws it. Punt formation.
That's going to be a very high, wobbly punt. And it's going to hit and then take a Mustang bounce back to the Mustang 45-yard line.
He was almost making contact with that again. The receiver for West Orange Stark, or the kick returner.
Going to get a chance to hear some of the exciting sounds coming from both bands right now. Wildly contrasting in styles.
Sean Smith directing the band right now from his stand on the track. And they have been playing continuously tonight.
3:09 to go here in the fourth quarter. Panthers trailing 73-7.
and have sounded very good. Sounded like a band that would get ones at competition.
And indeed they did. West Orange start coming out in, I can only hope, is some sort of victory style formation. Going to be a tight, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to snap that and down that and let the clock run. And in what has been a turn of events here, classy move right there.
Yeah, with now just under 3 minutes left to play, they put 73 points on the board. They feel pretty comfortable there. Don't want to try to add anything else to it. If they would have come out and tried to score one more touchdown and get the extra point, that would have made for a score you don't see very often.
No, you don't see. You don't see this score very often. Again, we've talked about this. The Panthers showing some flashes here and there, just not enough. And early on, making some critical mistakes that led to some easy scores. Again, another snap and a down. So they're taking some yardage loss here, but in a fair move, doing whatever they can to kill the clock.
Yeah, get another 40 seconds, and the officials assisting here as they are taking their time,
Yes, they are.
spotting the football and getting the play clock started.
Well, let's up the offense now. Play clock's running. We're down to 21 seconds. If they'll snap it at about 2 or 3 and get out of here in 2 more plays.
Well, the reality is I don't know if they've got enough to kill it all the way. They're
They
probably
do
going to
not.
have to punt it.
Yeah, third
I'll let
down.
Liberty have it.
Yeah, or just let the turnover on downs. And he's going to wait. And he's going to, there now finally. And that was a pretty heads-up play there, just trying to kill as much clock as humanly possible.
That'll take it under a minute.
And they are going to send the punting team on. And I would guess when the Panthers get it back, they're not going to do anything other than down the ball themselves. Again, we've been here at Dan R. Hook Stadium in West Orange, Texas. 11-4A action. Your Liberty Panthers falling for the 3rd straight game and moving to 1-3 in District 11-4A play. Going to be fielded cleanly by Austin Walker at the 35 and going to get brought down at the 36 after a little maneuvering. 35 seconds to go here in the contest. Again, your Liberty Panthers about to move to 1-3 in district play, and that will put them at 4-4 on the year. But there is a silver lining, Ross. If they win Friday, and that should put them in a winner-take-all for the last playoff spot the following week against Hampshire Finette. They will be hosting Bridge City at War Memorial Stadium on Friday night, senior night.
Who is Hampshire Finette playing tonight?
I did not see that.
So if they were to get beat tonight, Hampshire Finette was to get beat tonight, could they go to 2-3?
Not sure.
Have they won a district game yet?
Oh, yeah.
They beat Bridge City, I guess, huh? Maybe.
Or Hardin Jefferson, one of the two. And that's going to be
Austin Walker
Walker.
for 5.
And that may be the last play of the game. I don't know if they're going to try and run another one here. And they are not going to try and run another one. And so they're going to let the clock run out. That's going to do it here from Dan R. Hook Stadium in West Orange, Texas. Liberty falling 73-7. And your Liberty Panthers going to be heading back home, looking to get back off the slide next Friday night against the Bridge City Cardinals. And you've been watching Liberty Panthers Sports Network. I'm Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, Neil Thornton, producer Richard Ewing, and that's going to do it for us this evening. Don't forget to tune in on Wednesday to LHSlive.net for LHS Live at 9:30 a.m. And again, we'll be live at home next Friday night about 7:15 Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood, Neil Thornton, producer Richard Ewing. We'll see you next week.